Good morning, NBA fans, basketball fans, fans of all ages. Lots to get to. Jam-packed show. Not going to lie. Every team played in the NBA last season. College basketball is here. And also, happy election day to everybody who has yet to vote. Good luck. I know people who've already waited for 4 hours in line. Make sure you get out there and vote. It's the only way for your voice to be heard. Welcome, everybody, to Hoop Spaces for your Tuesday, November 8th. Thank you for making any part of your day here with us. We're appreciative. We'll get back to basketball in about 30 seconds. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. All right. Hey, look, everybody, it is a fantastic day. Lots to get to. Shout out to all my BMOR natives in the DMV celebrating Thursday night's football victory, 27-13. The Ravens over the Saints. But we are here, ladies and gentlemen, to talk basketball. If you look up top, there is one singular tweet. I am asking every single person in here to go ahead and like and retweet. That is our newsletter here, ladies and gentlemen. I've been building this every day since the beginning of the season. Rain, sleet, snow, or shine. You get every game recap, links to news and notes from across the league. Make sure you sign up. All you have to do is add an email, even if it's your burner email. And I sat today, this morning. I woke up early because I knew I was going to need more time. And I went back and I looked, and I want to say thank you to the 20 to 25 people who every day do the one thing that I ask for help in liking and retweeting either the show card or the newsletter. I wish we had more. Like, we get hundreds of people to come through this show every day, and we don't get hundreds of likes and retweets. And why is that important? Well, it's important for three reasons now. The first reason, it's really the only currency we creators in Spaces have here on Twitter, is your engagement. Number two, it takes a lot of work to actually do what we're doing. Specifically me, I host a daily show for 3 hours, plus now adding a newsletter. If you're in here listening, great. I'm happy you're here. Take the next step, be part of the build and journey, like and retweet. Check it out. Just say, hey, guys, if this is for you, subscribe. If not, I'm not worried about it, but at least help us grow by making the effort. And number three, Twitter is going to go through some changes. As we all know, Elon Musk has purchased Twitter for a record $44+ billion. We've already gone through a first round of layoffs. Reports are saying that they are starting to hire people back, including the Spaces crew. If you like what we're doing here on Spaces, this helps us with Spaces. We want more money invested in Spaces so that Spaces can continue to grow and eventually replace radio. So again, I ask, if you could do us the favor, like and retweet a simple tweet. I'm not asking for anything other than that. All right, already upstage, we have Hawks Fan TV. That's our friend Alex, who generally comes with a lot of Hawks propaganda, specifically after a win. We've got him up here. Mike is here to talk about the wondrous crossover and missed shot by Luka Doncic. Bonkai's ready to hop up here and talk New York Knicks as they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. But first, as I had said before, like, every team played, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get to it before we say good morning and get to these scores, because it's going to be a doozy. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It opened up with the Washington Wizards victorious over the Charlotte Hornets, 108-100. That game was absolutely horrible to watch. I watched it literally from opening to tip to end, and I have a headache still from it. The Orlando Magic fall to the Houston Rockets, 134-127, and a game that featured probably the two next best up-and-coming teams. Think Atlanta Hawks from a few years ago after they drafted Trae Young. That's the trajectory that both the Rockets and Magic are looking to emulate. The Detroit Pistons beat the Oklahoma City 112-103, and everybody is off of the OKC is not tanking bandwagon, and they are firmly thinking Victor Wembanyama will be a Thunder. The New Orleans Pelicans started out with all this buzz and all this glamour, fall to 500, and they fall to the Pacers, who move up to 500, 129-122. We asked the question, were the Pels just not ready? Are they just not that good? Like, we said they were deep. We said they had this phenomenal talent, but we're not seeing this talent and this depth, translate to wins. Not in a way that keeps them in pace with the Phoenix Suns, who lost last night to the Philadelphia 76ers, 100-88. Chris Paul leaves with a foot or heel injury, and then also DeAndre Ayton left in the second half and returned with a rolled ankle. The Milwaukee Bucks are no longer undefeated, and the highlight of the night is one Onyeka Okongwu just laying it on, catching a body. That body is named Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you did not see the dunk, I am sure Alex will move you emotionally with this reverence that he has for what Double O is doing. Portland, again, ladies and gentlemen, we have found the cardiac cats. And if you don't know that reference, you need to go back to college basketball about 30 years ago. 110-107 on yet another game winner, this time by Josh Hart in the corner. The Toronto Raptors proved that the Chicago Bulls may not be fraudulent, losing the second to a back-to-back in Chicago, ladies and gentlemen, 111-97. The Boston Celtics are here. They are not going to go anywhere. They defeat the Memphis Grizzlies by 3, 109-106. The New York Knicks put up 120 on Minnesota. We asked the question, does Ant Edwards want to play basketball right now? Because he is completely disengaged and not really moving within the framework of Chris Finch's offense. And if he does, we ask the question, is Chris Finch going to be on his way out? Because getting Rudy Gobert with the trade that they did was saying we are ready to compete now, and they are struggling one game below 500. The San Antonio Spurs fall to Denver 115-109. The Dallas Mavericks, they beat the Brooklyn Nets 96-94. But ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, this was not a good win. This was a very bad win by the Mavs, and we'll get into that. Golden State needed Steph Curry to be Steph Curry once again, and now the Golden State Warriors fans are turning on Jordan Poole? Say what? No, the pool party is closed, is shut down, and Golden State Warriors fans last night were just apoplectic. I can't even talk with that. Against Jordan Poole, who, if you know, signed a record-breaking contract extension, who will be averaging close to $40 million a season. The Utah Jazz did it again. They spanked the Los Angeles Lakers, sending them down to 2-8, 139-116. If you are a Lakers fan, nobody's sorry. Not a single person is sorry. We are all enjoying this. Just take the pill, right? And we'll see you next season because it's over. Like, it's over. Like, even Anthony Davis, and we'll get there, in the post game was like, well, yeah, people are injured. Bro, the Clippers are injured. They ain't 2-8. Well, people are injured. The Sixers have been injured. They're not 2-8. Like, when are we going to say enough is enough? Just say we suck and move on. The Clippers close us out with a good victory over Cleveland, 119-117. And this is a victory every Clipper fan needed. If they were to lose this game to the Cleveland Cavaliers, they would be just as irate as the Golden State Warriors fans. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, every single team played, every single game is recapped below in the Hoop Spaces review. Make sure you sign up for it. Use your burner email if you get tired of this in your regular email. I just need you to subscribe. Check it out. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Let us know what we need to add or take away, what you think is missing in the public discourse of the NBA. If we have time, we will get to some college basketball in the third hour. If not, we'll roll it over till tomorrow because there's some phenomenal action there. And last but not least, once again, today is election day. If you have not voted, please try to make time to make your way to a voting location and vote. If you are not registered to vote, you still may have time depending upon what state you live in. Use your Google machine. If you go early enough, there should be some registration stands. Make sure you take your ID. Make sure you take proof of who you are and get registered to vote. No matter how you vote, this is the only way you have a voice. And if you do not exercise your voice, you are akin to lose your voice. That's why we have this today. That's why we do it. Make sure you go out there. All right. With that, we got people already ready to come up. We'll say good morning first to Alex from Hawks Fam TV. Good morning, Alex. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Chris. Beautiful opening segment as always. Yeah, fun night of basketball last night. All 30 teams played, including my beloved Atlanta Hawks. We got the dub last night, 117-98. As you alluded to, no Trae Young, folks. No Trae Young, dealing with some right shin soreness and also a bruised eye after who was it? Was it Julius? I don't remember who gave him the bruise like that. But regardless, no Trae Young. And it was the DeJounte Murray show. Almost came off a consecutive triple-double. He was 2 rebounds shy of that, but dropped a cool 25 and 11 against the Bucks. And yeah, it was a great win. You know, Bucks were undefeated coming into this matchup, and we mollywopped them, Chris. And hopefully this win is going to build some momentum as we hit a tough stretch of games coming up. But man, DeJounte Murray, the second star that this team desperately needed next to Trae Young, he's showing everyone why he was worth every single penny and every single first-round pick that we did to acquire him. A lot of folks said DeJounte Murray and Trae Young ain't going to work out, this and that. But they're the number one backcourt in points and assists created across the entire NBA. So it's working out pretty fine. We 7-3. AJ Griffin. Is it too late to begin your Rookie of the Year campaign in Game 10 of the season, Chris? I'm curious. The streets are talking. AJ Griffin finally got some real NBA minutes, dropped a career-high 24 points. The first rookie, ladies and gentlemen, the first rookie this season to have 20-plus points and 3 or more steals in a single game. That belongs to Atlanta Hawks. AJ Griffin, shout out to you. And guys, Onyeka Okongwu, I know Hawks fans like to joke about Onyeka Okongwu being the Giannis stopper, this and that. It's happened in the playoffs 2 years ago, but this man puts Giannis in shackles, which is hard to believe because he's the most dominant player in the league right now. But I'm telling y'all, anytime Giannis matches up with Onyeka Okongwu, y'all seen the movies, right? With the crazy people going to the loony bin and they have to wear a straight jacket and the 4 padded walls. That's exactly what Giannis feels like every time he sees Onyeka Okongwu in front of him. Every single game this season, Hoop Spaces people, Giannis has a positive plus-minus. The only 2 times he's in the negative is against the Hawks. And you know why? Because of Onyeka Okongwu, Giannis was the second worst on the Bucks with a negative 22 in the BPM category. He was a negative 10 the first matchup that we should have won, but the refs bailed him out on that last-second shot. And folks, we got to start the conversation. Onyeka Okongwu is the Giannis stopper. That is my time. Thank you.
Man, I tell you, you got to get ready for this Hawks propaganda. And as somebody who is high on Onyeka Okongwu, and in full disclosure, we are all in a group chat. I said leading into the season 2 things, and I added a third, which I said before the season started. The first 2 things I said, the Hawks were going to be a series contender with the trade of DeJounte Murray. The second thing I said, Onyeka Okongwu will replace Clint Capella in the starting lineup by the trade deadline. I think it might now even be sooner. He provides a different level of defensive athleticism, and he can actually put the ball on the floor and shoot an 18-footer. Maybe he won't make it, but at least he can do it, whereas Clint Capella, I mean, let's be honest.
Hey, he made 2 of them things last night, Chris. 2 mid-range shots.
But boards and blocks, that's Clint Capella. Onyeka Okongwu, that's the 00 agent. He's going to actually unlock, hopefully, John Collins. Real quick, the third that I added, are you ready to have the discussion, Alex, that DeJounte Murray is actually better than Trae Young?
He's not better than Trae Young, but he's a great complementary piece, 1A, 1B, and Hawks fans are happy to have him, Christopher.
I absolutely love that answer, the correct, politically correct answer from Alex. And if you need Hawks news and, just opinion and fun on your timeline, make sure you shoot Alex here on Hawks Fan TV a follow and check him out over at hawksfantv.com. We'll go next to Nat. Good morning, Nat. Your Celtics victorious over the upstart Memphis Grizzlies from last year, who are still in the top of the Western Conference. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, shout out to my team. We're doing well, 7-3. You can't really ask for them to start better. I mean, there was a game that I saw, the first few games they played in the season where they could have lost, which was against Orlando. That had trap game written all over it, but they pulled that one out, to be 7-3. Jason Tatum has, he keeps improving, his game. I know people don't want to admit it, so I'm going to do it. He's improved his game. He saw weaknesses and he used the off season to not do a lot of talking and, like other guys, they say, oh, he got that dog in him and all that mess. Instead of talking, he just worked on it. He was very quiet, and then he came in and you just immediately saw it from game one, and he's continuing to do things and get to the free throw line and be aggressive. And his defense he's taken it up a notch. So I'm very happy with this team. Still looking forward to getting another big man. But this team is really good. But I wanted to talk a little Minnesota, Chris.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. I want to make sure that we get everybody up here first. Yeah, well, I'm going to keep you up here because with you and Alex, I have one question. Bucks are now 9-1. Cavs are 8-2. The Celtics and Hawks are 7-3. The Celtics and Hawks also statistically look very similar. So, question to you, Nat. Question to Alex, and then we'll put the poll out. Who is the better team, the Boston Celtics or the Atlanta Hawks?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. When we play, and if we play the Hawks, we are beating them in the playoffs. I'll let you know that right now. Boston is a better team. I don't know how we can question that. Alex, I hope that you're not drinking your juice this morning, and we're going to be honest, so let's see what he says, though.
Based off this season?
Well, yeah, it's 7-3.
Come on now.
10-game sample. We are now an eighth of the way through the season. Who's the better team, Boston or Atlanta? The polls out there, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and vote as you listen to Alex.
I mean, I can't speak about the Celtics. I actually haven't seen a full game all season from them. So I'm going to hold my judgment until we play them. But as you alluded to, Chris, we're both 7-3. So we'll see how the season plays out, Nat. Good luck. Bless up.
Look at that.
I've watched both teams, and I'm here to tell you that we'll beat them.
That's cute.
Look at that already.
That reminds me of my 3-year-old pit bull. That's cute. That's adorable.
Oh,
your 3-year-old pit bull, Alex.
That's bad.
Alex. I'll get you later.
All right, make sure you vote and go ahead and retweet. If you're down below and you can't come on up, hop in that chat box and say what's up. We'll head in there into the bottom half of the first hour to share your thoughts and takes. Shout out to some people down below. I see a couple of dope people you should follow, specifically if you are looking for some clarity on what's happening overseas and internationally. Mark Goldberg is in the building, host one of the best international affairs podcasts on the planet. Make sure you tap into him. Evan Townsend of Project Spurs is in the building, year 2, covering the draft. We have Rels Pels. If you're looking for Pelicans news and content, make sure you follow Rels Pels. Janelle Moore is down below, writer for the Mercury News, covering all things NBA and NFL out in the Bay. And, of course, our two very own, Jose and Rolo, Mavs hosts for 77 Spaces with Scammer Sultan, a.k.a. Jazz. If they're able to pop up a little bit later, we'll get their thoughts with Micah. But up next...
Chris.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this last thing.
Go ahead.
Jalen Johnson is exactly what Ben Simmons wishes he could be. That is my time.
There you go. I love it. I love that take. Big fan of Jalen Johnson, even though he's from Duke. Up next, we're going to go to two more victors. We'll hit up Sean, leader of Live from the Mecca with Cedric Shine and Jeff J. Says. You can catch his words and his voice also at Knicks Film School. Sean, good morning. Knicks winning. People hate it. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm not really here to talk about the Knicks, but I'm glad my homie Nat is up here because Nat, do you remember a few weeks ago when we discussed that the idea of a player is actually better
Mm-hmm.
than the player actually is?
That's why I'm
And there
here.
was a yes. There's a lot of ball buffing of one Anthony Edwards in this app a few weeks ago. A lot of ball buffing, particularly from one Chris Barnett. And I look and I see Mr. Edwards last night against a team that allowed 27 threes to the Boston Celtics 2 nights ago. 5 of 14, 16 points, 1 of 7 from 3. If
Sean,
the
don't
play,
take my gloat away from me. I don't like that. Like
okay. Well,
you took
listen,
it
I'll get
from
something.
me.
I'll get something. You get some. How about that? I get a little bit. You get a little bit. We can share. Listen, there's a more enough slander to go around. All I'm saying is, listen, guys. The idea of a player is not the player. Let the player become the idea before we say that. That applies to a lot of people, including one Benjamin F. Simmons Esquire. The idea. Do not fall in love with the idea of the player. Fall in love with the actual player. That's all I really have to say. The Knicks are 5-5. They are who we thought they were, mid, and we accept that.
Love it. I mean, at least you know, right? Like, if you know and you're cool with it, you're going to have a good season. Bonkai, give us some highlights because one, RJ Barrett had another good game, even though people lament that he goes 7 for 18. 22 points, like 6 for 6. I think a lot of people discredit what he's actually turning himself into, which is the New York Knicks version of Chris Middleton without the closing responsibilities, which I think fall now to Jalen Brunson. Bonkai, go ahead. We got Micah down below, Bakari as well, Jada McConnell and Evan Townsend all queued up next to give their takes. Bonkai, go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Just side note, real quick. As I grow, I kind of start to appreciate more Alex's, agendas and propagandas. I don't hate it as much as I used to. I kind of appreciate it. It's funny. It's entertaining. It gets the people going.
What did I tell you last year?
You were right.
I
Give
said
yourself a
I
ding.
won 30 of them. Alex is dope. Give Bonkai a round of applause for admitting growth and giving Alex here some credit, ladies and gentlemen.
Respect to Alex. And you know what? The Hawks fans are not that bad of a bunch, to be honest. Shout out to my Nick fans below. I know there's some of them down there. Um, yeah. So I don't know if you saw this, Chris, or anybody else. There was a little nasty narrative being created out there, that RJ Barrett was being compared to Lou Dort,
By people
of
in
all
our own
players.
fan base.
No, not people, by one man. One man. He was being compared to Lou Dort. Like what, 7 games into the season? Absolutely nasty. It was disgusting. Uh the kid has gotten he started to get it going. I mean, I know it's 3 games, but in those 3 games, he's had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Uh, the next game, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and the third game, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So yes, RJ starts out slow, you know, but then eventually he gets it going, and now it looks like he's got it going, right. Um, as far as for the Knicks last night, that was a great game. You know, the mid three, that's what they like to call them, right? The mid three absolutely delivered last night. 20 22 points from RJ, 31 from Julius Randle. I think he tied his career high in 3-point makes last night, with 8 of them, which was very pleasant to see because he had been struggling for the 3-point line as of late. Hopefully, this performance last night finally gets him going from there. And Jalen Brunson, again, super efficient. You know, nothing insanely flashy, but he gets the job done. 23 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Right. That's what we paid for, and that's what we're getting. And
That's a good spot to leave it off there, Bankai, because
oh,
I think we're gonna miss somebody's contributions that I want to highlight here.
who is it? I think I know who you're talking about.
Well, take a guess.
Obi?
No. And by the way, Obi is Lou Dort. Like that's your Lou Dort is Obi Toppin. No. One Cam Reddish, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Former Hawk player. He only had 8 points on 2 of 8 shooting, 28 minutes. But I'm telling you, I actually appreciate the effort and defense that he's been showing the last week, coming off the bench and now in the starting lineup. And to be honest, looking at what the Knicks have, I would not take him out. I would keep him in there and let him learn and get his lumps in here so he can try to be the productive player we all hope he can be.
I don't know. I'm with you 100%. The thing is, before he was just struggling on offense, and then he was letting it affect his defense altogether. But now, even if he's only scoring like 5 a game or scoring 8, even if he goes to 20, he's not letting that dictate his defensive effort. He's actually going out there and playing very well on defense. He's trying to get into the passing lanes. If you watch him, he's like trying to get over screens as much as possible. He's a pest. He's a nuisance. He finally realized that he has a long wingspan and he can bother people. So I think we're pretty happy with that. Even if he's not absolutely killing it, on offense, as long as he's bringing that effort on defense, which, like you said, we sorely need. With like a player like Brunson on defense, you gotta make up for him, and kind of like for Julius a little bit. That's going to be his calling card, and he's going to stay in the rotation as long as he keeps doing it, because Quentin Grimes right now, we have no idea when he's going to get back to playing regular basketball.
Let me get Sean in here. Sean, go ahead, finish up on the Knicks. We've got Bakari, Micah, and Tyrell, and Evan ready to go.
My only concern is with Cam in the starting lineup is that he's the fourth banana. Like he does, because he's fourth on the total poll behind.
Sean, are you okay?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you okay, man?
It's New York. What do you want from me?
Okay.
I'm walking down the street. I'm walking to my job. What I was saying is that he's fourth on the total poll behind Julius, RJ, and Brunson. So I want to see him stagger with more bench lineups so we can actually create a little bit more, and it's easier for him to get in the flow of the offense, like Bankroll was talking about.
All right. Appreciate it, Sean. We'll get back to some more Knicks talk. Hey, everybody that's just popped in. Got 135 wonderful people in here getting ready to talk some basketball. But when I look up, I only see 18 likes and 18 retweets. Like that's just not going to cut it. If you're in the room and you look at the very top, there's one tweet that I would like for you to like and retweet, and it shows what we're building here. The next step in basically laying the foundation of a new digital company to cover basketball the way you want it. Well, you're here. Like, do us the service and like and retweet so we can continue to grow and shine the light on people like Sean and shine the light people like Alex, Arnett, who are all building their own content empire covering the sport you say you love. So if you're in here any given time, do us the favor. Like, just give a like and a retweet. I don't think it's too much to ask. Up next, we'll go to Bakari. Bakari, we're going to keep it quick. We'll give you 60 seconds. We'll go to Micah after you, Tyrell after him. We'll close out the opening Good Morning segment with Evan Townsend of Project Spurs. And then we'll get into some actual games and some more detailed talk. Appreciate everybody. Good morning. Bakari, you're up.
Is there any way I can switch the topic?
So you just come up here and switch my flow?
Yes.
Why? Why are you doing this, Bakari?
I don't know.
You just can't say good morning. It was a great night of basketball. I can't wait to talk about it.
I guess I'll say good morning. That's all.
There you go. Keep working on that chest there. You need to get better. Micah, good morning.
Good morning to you, Chris. It is a great day to talk basketball. It is also a great day to remind you that Josh Green, a.k.a. the Sugar Glider, season has arrived, and I am here for it. But I'm just going to close it off with that. Good morning, and let's get into these games. Hello, everybody.
Tyrell, hop up in here.
Yo, good morning.
What's up?
30 teams played last night. It was a lot of good basketball. But I just want to say the first game we should talk about. You know what it is, Chris. You know what it is.
Yeah, it's the Washington Wiz. No, let me stop. Appreciate it, Tyrell. Evan, hop in here. Good morning.
What's going on? Good morning, Chris. Real quick. Spurs propaganda, 30 seconds. Super quick. Keldon Johnson is the only wing in this league that can drop 30 points that can't self-create for himself. Keldon Johnson is averaging more points than Nikola Jokic right now. Keldon Johnson needs help. Will he get help? I don't know. Hey, you already know what I'm about to say. Jakob Poeltl, first-round picks. Trey Jones, first-round picks. Josh Richardson, first-round picks. Isaiah Roby, second round. Couple seconds. Appreciate you. Thank you, Chris. You have a good one.
All right, hey, I think Trey Jones has played himself into staying in San Antonio for an extended period of time. I'm actually hearing rumblings that they're already looking at re-signing him. So shout out to another Jones about to get a paycheck. All right, Jay the Wakandan's the last who was yet to speak. Jay, say something now, forever hold your peace.
Good morning, everybody. And I now understand why Laker fans want Buddy Hield. Statistically, he's never missed a shot in the playoffs.
Love it, everybody. Thank you for popping in. Good morning. I'm gonna hit this button because our sponsor would like for us to tell you about them. We don't get paid for it, but this is how it works, right? People within the basketball industry have noticed what we've all individually and collectively been able to do. And Slam Goods, which is a derivative of Slam, reached out via the pickup card game and said, we love what you guys are doing. And here, our way to help you is to provide you with a promo code so that you can direct your listeners here and they can save some money. And yeah, I get what you're probably thinking. I have to go there and spend money. You don't have to. All I ask is that you go check it out over at slamgoods.com. But I'm going to tell you now, you'll find something you'll want. Whether it's the Funko Pop dolls like we were talking yesterday with Bankai, or whether it's my personal favorite, which are the Rewind series of the magazine, you can head over to slamgoods.com and use promo code Hoopspaces to save 15%. And that actually turns out into real money. And then you can save more money by purchasing more things. And then you can go buy yourself a latte for $8 at Starbucks. If you can buy a latte for $8 at Starbucks, you can go buy the Asia Wilson WNBA Finals MVP cover. It's $9.99. Save 15% using promo code Hoopspaces. Pay $8.50, which is the same price at a latte. But you get something you can keep for the rest of your life instead of regretting drinking 5 minutes later. All right, there you go. Slamgoods.com, promo code Hoopspaces. Save 15%. And we will open up right now with the Hawks beating the Hawks beating the Milwaukee Bucks. We will go back to Alex and Tyrell, no longer undefeated. 2 games where Giannis has struggled against the combined front line of Clint Capella, John Collins, and Yuka Okongwu. We will give Tyrell the floor. We will allow Alex to close. We will then take comments from the people up on stage. If you're down below and you want to come on up, raise your hands. I will try to work people in and out sometime in the next hour. Tyrell, you're up. Go.
I just love that. It started out this way. The Heat are folding. The Nets are folding. And people told me we traded our future for one of the worst All-Star in NBA history. That's what they called him. The worst All-Star in NBA history. 7-3.
That title belongs to Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. But 7-3. 7-3. That's a great start for the Hawks. AJ Griffin, our rook, came out in a big-time game, had 24 points, 10 for 15 from the field. DeJounte Murray, 25, 8, and 11. And I'm just glad that the Knicks and Timberwolves are not smart organizations and didn't try to go get them. I'm just so glad they're not. The Timberwolves go out and get Rudy Gobert. They stink. The Knicks get Jalen Brunson because his dad is an assistant. They stink. It's a great day to be a Hawks fan, man. And let's talk about it. Why does every time Giannis plays, he struggles? I just don't know, man. We got a bunch of guys we could throw at him on Yuka Okongwu, Clint Capella, even Jalen Johnson. There's a clip of him blocking Giannis, and Giannis pushed off still. Man, it's not the same team as last year, man. It's not. We on a roll. We play Utah on Wednesday. Utah's a very good team, so we gotta be ready for them. But it's not, bro. And I always say a good team shows resilience, bro. And the Bucks went 5-5 from 3, and we didn't let that waver our confidence. And we got it done last night. So that's all I can hope from the guys, bro. So
All right, Tyrell, you're gonna join the burgeoning bandwagon and tell the truth here. DeJounte Murray is better than Trae Young.
Chris, man, look. I've been on the motto: defense over deep threes. It's actually my pin tweet. It's my pin tweet. So I'll give you that. Defense over deep threes. I'll give you that.
All right, Alex, you hear it. Tyrell is on board. What I got to do to prove it to you?
DeJounte Murray is not better than Trae Young, but DeJounte Murray is a great complementary piece.
All right, what else do you have for the game that you want everybody to understand before we move on to the next one?
I mean, Tyrell said it beautifully, and you guys already heard my opening monologue. But yeah, man, this team is starting to click. Undefeated in the month of November, 3-0. Oh, about to make it 4-0 against the Jazz. And yeah, this Hawks team is different. It's not the same old Trey centric team of basketball that you guys have been used to seeing, where teams can just double, triple team Trey, and then our offense goes to shit. That's the power of having a legitimate second All Star. Also, he's in the running for DPOY if we're counting those things this early into the season. But DeJounte Murray might honestly make All NBA team, or definitely an All Star team, as well as an All NBA defensive team too. So yes, things are looking nice in the A.
All right, so to recap the Bucks part again. I started getting a lot of people pushing back against me when I asked the question: is the Bucks championship title closing? And they started out undefeated, and of course, people are making fun of me. And yet, I think last night's game proved something here that without Chris Middleton, there is no balance unless everybody plays perfectly. Not named Giannis. Your thoughts, everybody, on the Hawks and Bucks? What are your thoughts on the Milwaukee Bucks' actual championship odds as they probably played the hardest game matchup-wise in the Eastern Conference that they're likely to see this year against the Atlanta Hawks? We will go to Bankai first. We'll get Jay and Nat's thoughts, and then we'll move on to the next game. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, I think that's the type of game last night where they definitely missed a guy like Chris Middleton. He would have helped out Giannis a lot on the offensive end. But that aside, I got a question for you, Chris. So if you had to pick defensive player of the year this year, DeJounte Murray or OG Anunoby? Trying to start something.
Oh, that's OG.
For defense?
That's OG. That's
right,
definitely OG.
Yeah, right now, it could be one of three people. It would be either DeJounte Murray, OG Anunoby, and then the third person nobody really wants to give credit for because he's dominating offensively, and that's Giannis. Giannis has actually been superb on defense this year, and a lot of people discount rebounding, but defensive rebounding is the actual defensive metric.
True.
So when you combine defensive rebounding, steals, blocks, and the ability to guard 1 through 5, Giannis is never put up there in the top defensively, even though he deserves it. And I think with Chris Middleton being out extended, if Milwaukee continues this type of play, he has the ability to be in there. I
didn't even think of that. You're so right.
I happen to think, though, that DeJounte Murray missing out last year, he was my pick last year, will get some sympathy votes as he probably leads the league in steals, probably leads the league in rebounding from the guard position, and then guards 1 through 3 consistently on any given night. So there you go. Those are my top 3 as of now. I would probably put it OG, DeJounte, and Giannis, but real super close. Gio, I know you want to add in here, but you got to keep the quorum. I'm trying to keep it moving to get everybody's thoughts in here. We'll move next to Jay the Wakandan. Jay, your thoughts on Milwaukee?
I still think they're the best team in the East, but I do think Atlanta does pose a matchup problem, even if you add Trae Young and Chris Middleton to the mix. The Bucks don't have the shooting to keep up with the Hawks if the Hawks are hitting shots. So that's an interesting chess match going forward. but I don't think the Bucks should like make a panic trade trying to match up with the Hawks. I think they'll be fine.
All right. Nat, do you want to add anything?
About these Bucks. Listen, Chris Middleton has to come back. We know this. I think they've gotten off to a great start. Drew Holiday's playing really well, but a lot of them, like you said, have to play well. So what's going to tell the story of this team? Also, Brook Lopez having a great season. We have to keep that in mind. He looks a lot better, and he's moving a lot better. So that's a big reason as to why they are 9-1 as well, as opposed to just Giannis. But Chris Middleton is what's really going to tell the story and level them out to see if they can actually, if their window is closed or not. So when he comes back and we see what he's working with, if he's healthy, if he's good, then we can assess this team correctly. But they're still going to be really good, though.
All right. Appreciate it. Gio, what do you got?
I was just wondering more to the Hawks fans. Do you guys think you win yesterday with Trey played? Honestly?
Yes.
38% shooter wins that game for y'all tomorrow? I mean, yesterday.
It's not about
it's
not about an individual metric.
Is a nightmare. That's just
it's not about an individual metric when it's a team game.
Well, no, it's a team game, but he's shooting terrible splits and playing no defense. I think they would have bullied it. No.
No, not last night.
Why not?
Lazy take.
Well, if you watch the game, I'm not going to hold on. It's my damn show. You hold on, chill. If you watch the game, then you would realize that they didn't have anybody to bully Trae Young. Drew Holiday had to play perimeter offense because everybody was collapsing on Giannis. That's why Giannis struggled. They had 3 dudes that kept running at him. They weren't going to bully Trae on anything. He was probably going to take 21 shots, make 38 to 40%, and they still probably would have put up 120 because if you looked at the Hawks every game, that's what they did except for 2 losses. Alex, am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
So you don't think Trae literally sitting out there on Drew?
Dude, they had Javon Carter playing 26 minutes, going 1 for 4. What are you doing?
Javon Carter is a better matchup for Trey rather than these guys that can kind of bully
Javon Carter played 26 minutes and went 1 for 4.
You know what Javon Carter does, right?
Yeah.
What's he do?
Plays 26 minutes and goes 1 for 4.
What's he do? Where's he play?
He plays 26. Right?
Does he play the perimeter?
Yeah, he plays the perimeter. He's a guard, and he played 26 minutes and went 1 for 4. You can't say that Trae Young is going to go 38% and impact the game when then not say that Javon Carter going 1 for 4 in 26 minutes doesn't impact the game. Javon Carter probably has a worse game as Trae Young plays, and he probably goes 1 for 10. Very similar to, I don't know, Jordan Nwora, who went 1 for 6, Grayson Allen, who went 3 for 8. Stop trying to use one singular metric of one player to dictate the outcome of a team game. That's what we're trying to tell you. You just don't want to listen. You want to say, oh, because of this. Nah, it doesn't work that way. 5 players, not 1, 5. Count them. Appreciate it.
No, I said if there's mismatches, but it's fine. They can't have mismatches when Trey's not there. You don't get it?
No, I get it. We're just saying you're wrong.
You don't get the point of that?
No, you're just wrong.
But look, I'll just say
38. I'm wrong about the 38% shooter.
But look, I could agree with you
because Trae Young has a higher career true shooting percentage than your beloved
Tatum. He shoots 41% for his career.
Chris. Let me add this in. I would agree with him.
Wait up, little man.
But Trae Young's best game this year, where he dropped 42, was literally against the Warriors.
Higher true shooting percentage. Yeah. Jason Tatum, your All NBA MVP Celtic.
Yeah, I tend to look at the game as 5-on-5, Gio, because the game is 5-on-5.
Yeah, they looked great on defense. I wonder why.
Because they look great on defense.
Why, Chris?
They weren't bad on defense. They're not bad
on Pelicans game, the game before.
I just wonder why. I'm just asking a question.
They're not bad on defense.
Did you see the Pelicans game? The game before where Trae Young played 40 minutes and they still played phenomenal defense and beat the Pelicans? Oh,
the Pelicans are the most overrated team in the NBA right now. Are you serious?
Well, they're not. They're not. The most overrated team in the NBA right now is the Los Angeles Lakers. That's because they're 2-8. And they were told that they weren't going to be 2-8 with the healthy LeBron and AD. My question is, are you watching the league or are you just watching the trending highlights? Because it seems like you're watching highlights, Gio. Like I
This,
watched the Hawks and Bucks game because I'm like I'm gonna have to listen to Alex tell about
Yeah,
how the
but
Hawks
Chris,
are
who
legit
honestly
title
hyped up the
contenders.
Lakers besides the Lakers? Nobody hyped them up. What are you
Are
talking
you
about?
kidding me?
No, are you kidding me? Are you serious?
No, I'm being pretty
Anyone
serious.
outside of LA hyped the Lakers up? Anyone in?
Yeah. As somebody who did 217 shows last year, carried it through the off season, took maybe 8 days off in the off season. A lot of people was hyping the Lakers up. Just hate to tell you that. Like you just don't. You're not in the same places apparently. Maybe you should follow more Lakers fans, and you'll see where they hype them up. Like I don't think I'm wrong there. Micah,
Like
hop
I
up
said,
in
it was
here.
Laker fans. Like I don't understand.
No,
this
it's,
man
Compared to the
gets his
Pelicans, though,
NBA
to be
takes from
honest, Pelicans
YouTubers,
compared to
Chris.
Lakers.
Ay. He has zero sense of decorum. It's annoying.
I'm gonna just say this, Chris, and then we can move on. Trae Young's
He
best
gets his
game this
takes
year.
from NBA YouTubers that have 50,000 subscribers. That's where he gets his takes
Trae
from,
Young's
Chris.
best game this year came against the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know, like that's literally his best game this year. I don't know.
It's okay. I understand what he's doing. It's sad. It's just sad. Like I don't understand how you can equate Trae Young and not equate Javon Carter.
Oh, one thing I want to say: shout out Evan, man. Shout out the Spurs front office giving us DeJounte. I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all get Wemby, man. Come on.
Yeah, I think Alex was being too generous with the YouTube thing. It's probably TikTok. Probably gets his highlights from TikTok.
It's
That
funny.
is true. That's where all the kids get it from.
Individual metrics for a singular player in a non-heliocentric offense means squadouche, right? Like we're not talking what the Mavs and Bucks did last night, where it literally was Luka Doncic versus Kevin Durant, right? And to talk about that, we've got Micah up here, and he will talk about Kevin Durant versus Luka Doncic because that's what that game was. I watched that game too, and that was not a pleasurable existence. Micah, your Mavs won. But this is not a celebratory win. This is a win that should have probably been more. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll touch, but let me touch on this real quick. As far as Trae Young, even when he's having bad shooting nights, he still demands gravity. You know what I mean? Like, I can even see it with my team with a much lesser player in THJ. He can be out there having shooting splits of 30, 20, 60, but he still demands gravity from defenders. So that's different ways that a player maybe not even having certain individual statistics still impacts the game because you have to respect his shot and his ability to play make. But as far as that well, it's probably not the best win. I mean, we pretty much won because Ben Simmons sucks. He's broken. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but I feel like all the injuries and he's in his headspace. I don't know if he gets back to the player that he was. I hope he does, but it's still to be seen.
All right, that backup sound is I think overriding what you're trying to say.
But yeah, real quick. So I'll take the W. Sometimes you just got to win ugly, you know. And seeing more out of Josh Green, I'll take that. So, just take the W when they come. They're not always going to be blowouts and be great.
All right, appreciate it. Jose is getting ready to come up, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're down below and you want to come up, go ahead and request the mic. To get on stage, we ask that you like and retweet the very first tweet up there, which is the newsletter. There's 30 people who liked it, 28 who's retweeted, and a couple of quote tweets. There's over 140 people in the room. It's a simple ask. Take 5 seconds out your day, hit a like and hit a retweet. It's what helps us grow, and it'll help us continue to be able to be here to have this wonderful show that we actually enjoy doing. Up next, we'll add Jose real quick. He'll break down some more Dallas Mavs and Brooklyn Nets. We'll move on to one of the next games as we get ready to move into the second hour. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So Chris was saying this is not a game worth celebrating. I respectfully disagree just because of the fact that This is the Western Conference we're talking about. The Mavs are 6-3. Every win matters, especially early in the season. This team has been in clutch games in all 9 of their games so far, and we only have 3 losses in those clutch game stats. So this is something worth celebrating. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith being able to make some threes in the corner at the pivotal times that we need them, worth celebrating. Josh Green going off for 16 points, being able to play in closeout situations. He played for 26 minutes last night, which I think was the most that he's ever played as a Mavs. So that's worth celebrating. Uh, every If we would have lost, the narrative today, probably on Hoop Spaces, would have been the Mavs blew a 10-point lead with no Kyrie and just KD. So I'm going to celebrate a 2-point win and celebrate KD missing a pivotal free throw that would have put them down by one. And then, of course, he could have tied it if he would have made the other one, but he was forced in a situation where you basically just had to call it and had to get the offensive rebound and generate offense in that situation. I will also say that Luka passing the threshold and getting 9 straight games of 30 plus it's just phenomenal. I mean, what this man can't do, and heliocentric offenses are due to the roster construction. Josh Green is somebody who is not specifically just a one type of way player offensively. So when you have these little marginal guys, you don't want to trade them because they're definitely impactful. Now, like a Reggie Bullock who's been struggling, who's going to get his numbers back on track, maybe that's somebody you look into trading. But guys who are going to consistently run, give you energy, cut to the basket without you telling them to, these are ways to prevent heliocentrism. I want to make sure I say that.
Heliocentricity.
Yeah, yeah. Damn. Okay, that's a lot. I'm gonna have to practice saying that before I get that down. But great game last night. Getting to see KD lock up Luka on a couple of situations, that was fantastic. That just goes to show you how great KD is. And then you know Ben Simmons just another dud of a showing coming off the bench. I thought he would be a little bit more impactful. Christian Wood wasn't as valuable last night. He just couldn't get it together. He was loose with the ball, just trying to force the offense a lot of situations, and he only played 20 minutes last night. But, again, Dorian and Josh Green just coming in and making an impact, that's what worth celebrating.
All right, hey, no, shout out to you and shout out Josh Green, 5 for 5, 5 boards, tough defense again. I put out a tweet before the game saying that they should let Josh Green be the Tony Allen he can be, and you know what? He showed last night he might even be able to be more. 16 points, 2 for 2 from deep, 4 for 4 from the line. Want to give a couple of thanks. Thanks to Janae and thanks to Jamal and GFT and Quando for liking and retweeting the newsletter down below. We appreciate it. Up next, we're going to hear from EK. EK, good morning. How you doing?
I am doing well, Chris. How you guys doing? Good morning, everyone.
Well, I'm doing better now that we have people who can actually, talk without
I
saying
heard
things that are diametrically opposed to what actually is basketball.
I heard that whole exchange, and I was just shaking my head while I was working. But but to piggyback off the Luka point, I don't really want to get on KD too much because I gave him a lot of flowers yesterday. And I think as the season progresses, they're going to have to try to work around this new structure they have with Ben Simmons still trying to work his way back, and with Kyrie being out for as long as he's gonna be out. However, to Luca, he's already crossed the threshold. Like Jose just said, 9 straight games to start the season with 30 plus, and it got me thinking. And I want to know everybody's opinions. How many games do we think Luca is going to be able to do this? Because I'm looking at the schedule. Tomorrow they play the Magic. even though it's coming off a back-to-back, they were home against the. I'm sorry, not a back. Yeah, it's coming off a back-to-back. They play the Magic tomorrow. I don't think there's anybody on the Magic who's going to stop him getting 30. Then they play the Wizards. He's going to get 30 against the Wizards. Then they play the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are an interesting team. Obviously, they're one of the surprises. Josh Hart came up big for them yesterday, and they have some bodies that they can maybe throw at Luka if guys like Christian Wood are struggling and things of that nature. And then they play the Clippers. So I just kind of want to get everybody's opinion on how long do we think Luka's going to keep this up? Because I think we get on here maybe once or twice a week and talk about his usage rate and how long can he keep this up, and he's going to break down and he can't keep on doing this. But I mean, the way he's looking every single game, man, he's making me more of a believer than I already was in him.
Well, I personally think when you look at who he's got playing up against, I think the trap game is the next game. Orlando can run a lineup where everybody's 6'9" or taller with almost 7-foot wingspans or more. And if they really go in there and say, we really want Reggie Bullock or TSJ to beat us, and they move those lengthy arms and big bodies towards them, that could be the toughest matchup. And if he gets past that, yeah, like we could be looking all the way until maybe Denver, which is on Friday the 18th, when they could put like Aaron Gordon, who's one of the league's most underrated defenders, and then you have Boston after Denver, and then you have Toronto, Milwaukee after that. So like you've got a good 5 games, maybe even 6 that he can continue to put out these 30-point games. We'll let Jose add in his thoughts. Go ahead, Jose.
Yeah, so EK, I appreciate the question. Honestly, it's possible he could break the record. I mean, the Toronto Raptors, who are the best at switches, they threw tons of defensive schemes at him, and he was just able to get whatever he wanted. He wasn't really phased. I mean, besides the officiating, like that defense doesn't really bother him. So we could see where he breaks the record. I don't want to put a specific number, but it's possible. Like Kevin Garnett said, even though he disses Dirk on the regular, and I can't stand that.
I think he's just bitter. Shout out Kevin Garnett. Stay bitter. It's okay. We love it. Like Dirk beat you 1-on-1 and he's got the chip. I'm sorry. It is what it is. All right. We've got someone up here who's an advocate for cancer treatment and screening. As someone who's had cancer, I stand with you. Prince Rice, one of those two. Do us a favor, shoot us a follow. We'll follow back. Like the tweet up top with the newsletter, and say good morning to the good people.
Good morning, y'all. I just want to say to the Luka point about him scoring. I don't know how many or if he can break it. I feel like he gonna need to take a break. Dropping 30 takes a lot of energy. I think it's possible though. But why we acting like James Harden wasn't dropping 40 like it was a piece of candy?
Well, it has nothing to do with that. He can drop 40. What it is he's not dropped 8 consecutive or 9 consecutive now 30-point games to start the season. Wilt Chamberlain did it twice. He went 8-0 with 30 plus, and then he went 26. That's why we're not talking about James Harden, and we're also not talking about James Harden because he's out for a month. And as a Sixers fan, I'm gonna tell you the dirty secret: we play better with him out because he and Maxey play the same position. Been saying this shit forever. Ever. When will y'all listen? Ever.
And
Go
Doc
ahead.
Rivers is the greatest coach ever.
I didn't say the greatest coach ever, but you know what? I'll take it.
The lies on this app are hilarious.
I didn't say it. That was Bonkai. I just took it. Top 15 greatest coach of all time, Doc Rivers. Where's the lie?
And he has a son in the league.
Still in the league, baby.
Yo, Bonkai, you're hilarious.
Still in the league.
Hey, he only in the league because of who his daddy is. His ass.
It don't matter. He collecting that check, and that's all that matters. And he's going to get good retirement too. All right. Anybody else for the Mavericks and Nets game? I'll give you the Nets take in a second. I want to make sure everybody gets their share. Jay, you got anything you want to add?
Um, Nah, man. I am looking forward to the Mavericks Wizards game because I like the hopefully Bill is healthy and out of protocols because I would just like to see how those teams cross match on transition ball because I don't know if the Mavericks have anybody that can stay in front of Kuzma and the Wizards definitely don't have anybody to stand in front of Luka. So I just want to see chaos.
I
So
feel you.
when y'all was talking about the upcoming games, I definitely got that one scheduled because the Wizards are my sneaky favorite bad mediocre team to watch this year.
Hey, yo, Chris, what's up? Can
That's
I say
rough, bro.
something about that game?
Sure, Cash. Go ahead.
Hey, yo, how come? Like, I was watching and they said it's too much for KD to score and facilitate at the same time and all of that. But I'm looking at cats like James Harden and Trey Young and all these dudes. What's these passes giving out now? Like, I don't know, but Luka Doncic is the best player in the world. So that's that. But like, I didn't like that. I'm listening to the broadcast and it's like all of a sudden, like for Durant, it's too hard to drop 30 and 10. But we don't give enough credit when it's
Well,
due because like the stuff that he's doing and people are like, oh, look what Durant's doing. There's players doing this all around the league. They just don't have the notoriety.
but it's also a combination of expectation and career track record, right? The expectation of Kevin Durant is to not have to be the primary ball handler, facilitator, and scorer. Like he grew up playing the primary scorer. He never grew up playing the primary facilitator. And so when you look at how he's been fit into every offensive system that he's ever played in, it's never can he do it? Sure, but it's never asked of him. And so when you're now 15 years almost into a pro career, and your number two who was supposed to be it is now gone. The number three who was supposed to be it is now gone, and you're left with the likes of Patty Mills and Cam Thomas. Like you kind of get put in a position where you have to be it because you're just the de facto best player. And he's had some games where he's done it fine. The issue is when the other team, like the Mavericks did, take away everybody else. Like Royce O'Neal was the second best and probably is the second best player on that team right now. And he had 8 assists because he had the hockey assists. He was 4 for 8 from deep. But like if you take away Joe Harris, if you take away Seth Curry, if Ben Simmons isn't going to score, then you just put all the pressure on scoring on Kevin Durant, who then doesn't necessarily look at the
I mean, Harden was
facilitation role.
dropping 35 with dudes like Monty Unius and Daniel House Jr. But we didn't make all them excuses for. I'm just saying. I'm just
Well,
starting to
that's
see a
also
pattern.
yeah.
I'm just
That's
starting to
also
see a
be
pattern.
that's also because Mike D'Antoni played 7 seconds or less and gave every decision to James Harden. So let's not be
It look like
disingenuous.
KD can make every decision when he's bringing the ball up the court. Maybe he's not making the right ones. Let's stop this double standard. That's all I'm saying.
It
It's like
is. It
it's a
is
double
not. It's
standard
not a
You
out
gonna
double
here.
tell
standard.
KD
It's
to pass
cool.
the ball?
It's cool. He's
It's
not better
not.
than Luka Doncic though.
It's not a double standard, and you know it. And you're being disingenuous trying to create the double standard in the argument. Ek, go ahead and finish up. We're gonna move on.
Yeah. I just wanted to respond to Cash. It's
Yo,
actually
come
pretty.
on, EK.
No, I'm going to agree with Chris from this perspective, right? So, because I am from the DMV, I saw Kevin Durant play when he was in high school. I saw him play at the run and shoot right after he signed to Texas, and he was a 17-year-old killing all the NBA and international players that was coming into the run and shoot that summer, and everybody was wondering how come he's going to college. He could have gone to the NBA just out of high school just for his scoring prowess. He is a scorer at heart. And when you and the situations he's been in, mostly in the league, he's had a primary ball handler. Like Chris said, he's never had to be the primary decision maker or ball handler or anything like that. So now to expect him to be fit into that role, just because we see Kevin Durant as this great scorer, and we're saying, well, if he's a great scorer, how come he can't pass the ball? It just goes to show that guys who are able to do that, like a Luka, like a LeBron, guys who are really good playmakers and can also score when they need to. It just shows how great they are. But the difference is that they were expected to do that from day one. They were put in coaching. They were put in positions to where they were expected to do that, where they had to do that. Kevin Durant never had to be the primary ball handler. He never had to be the primary decision maker until now. And now we're seeing some of the struggles and him having to work through that. And because he's a professional, I think he'll work through it as best he can. But we can't.
EK, let me ask you a quick question, man.
Oh yeah.
I got someone that can disprove your statement right there. Brandon Ingram. He's one of the best wing creators, and he wasn't always put in positions. Brandon Ingram in Duke and in Los Angeles Lakers, he was featured more as a scorer. And then when he came to New Orleans, he gained that skill. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler came in as a defensive guy. So those are two examples where Kevin Durant, he should have learned the skill by now.
Well, that's not necessarily fair.
No, come on, Chris.
Jimmy Butler took years to develop into a primary wing facilitator, and Brandon Ingram was featured as a scorer because they had Lonzo Ball and nobody else to score in Los Angeles. And when he got to New Orleans after they lost AD, ain't nobody was there. And so they're like, here. And then they get other players, and they're like, wait a minute, you're best at being a hybrid facilitator scorer, more similar to Chris Middleton than Kevin Durant. They're like, and we have, that's why I say it's expectations. We go in with biased expectations from the moment these players are scouted and people start paying attention to them in the NBA draft, right? If you talk to some of the scouts and coaches that dealt with the ACC and Duke, they would have told you he is a facilitator first in his game. If you look at what he does, he wants the ball to control the motion of the offense, and he's more apt to get the likes of like Zion Williams. Well, he wasn't there, but oh wow, I'm blanking out now all of a sudden. Anyway, he was the lead facilitator even in the group discussion dynamics at Duke, right? That's who he was, and it took New Orleans to actually bring that out of him because they didn't have anybody. And remember, y'all went out and got Devontae Graham because you didn't have anybody. So, like, who would you rather have with the ball in their hand, Brandon Ingram or Devontae Graham? Ergo, Devontae Graham kind of took the second seat, and Brandon Ingram took over the primary ball handling responsibilities, which is why now Devontae Graham is third on the depth chart behind C.J. McCollum and Jose Alvarado. Jimmy's good. The Jimmy argument's the better argument. It's just that Brandon Ingram isn't a defensive player like Jimmy, so he never molded himself into the defensive facilitator that Jimmy is. But like, I'll give you like half a point for the Jimmy one. Go ahead, EK. You were finishing up. Then we'll head over to Prince and then Marvin, and then we're gonna move off this game because we got, 11 more to cover. Go ahead, EK.
Yeah, no problem. And Marvin, I appreciate the discourse, man. Really, really great point bringing Jimmy Butler up. But Jimmy Butler, like Chris said, he was not an incomplete player, but he only had one facet to his game, and he was able to grow the other facets of his game while not having to be the primary offensive uh, sort of juggernaut for his team every single night. Now, obviously, in the playoffs, it's a different scenario, and Jimmy turns it up in the playoffs. But when you look at his production throughout regular season, he's not the type of guy that's going to go out and average 26, 27, 28 on 50% shooting like a Kevin Durant is, like he's expected to do, right? So because of that added responsibility and the expectations, right, he never had to develop that playmaking ability. Look at the point guards he was playing with. Like, when you just look at the actual point guards he's played with when he's had some type of success: Steph Curry, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Like, think about that. Like, those are 3 first ballot Hall of Famers. If you're talking about an all-decade team, those 3 guys are on the team. Like, so this is who he was playing with, right? So I just think we have to really look at it and understand that because he was in privileged situations, he never had to develop that part of his game. So now that he's not in that privileged situation, now we get a chance to see what he's going to be able to do to develop.
EK, listen, bro. Y'all ain't gonna tell me about K. I know more about K. Check this out, right? He plays his best ball without those guards. He really does. His best series. Watch this. Watch this.
He doesn't win without those guards. He doesn't win without those lead facilitators. That's the thing. He plays his best ball in terms of stats and collective
his most
stats,
number one play of all time was what? That shot on LeBron James, right? Where was Steph Curry? To the side. What was his number one series? Probably the one where James Harden was hurt and Kyrie was hurt. Come on.
But is he
Well,
winning
yeah,
the
that's because
series? Is he winning?
I'll break him
Is
down.
he
Cash.
winning?
The 7
He
You're
foot
just
Devin
talking about
Booker.
is
big
Let's talk
numbers.
let
about it.
me
Obviously,
ask
he's going to
you,
have bigger
let,
numbers when he's not going to have
Let's
these
talk
lead
about it.
facilitators next to him.
Cash. Let me
But
ask
he's
you a
not winning.
question.
Come on, man. This is
Let let
He can
let
disingenuous.
do it.
me
He can drop 30 and
His
10
best
just like
series was the
Harden. But just
2017
because he's
let me ask you a question, Cash, because this is what you do. Why are you bringing this up when Kevin Durant is going one-on-one in one specific play? Or why do you bring up the time when Kevin Durant had no help? Like, give me the time that you can make an argument when he had everybody
Chris,
and
notice I said that's
controlled
when
the
he played
game.
his best ball. That's when he
He
played his best ball. When the
That's
point
not
guard was
his
to the
best
side and not
ball.
ball dominant. And now the
That's
point
not
guard
Not his
his
best
best
ball, man. That's
ball.
not
stop it.
his
Steph
best
Curry was
ball.
to
That's not his best ball. That's the highest amount of production. There's a difference. Like, if you are asked to take 30 shots and you make 14, you're still under 50%, but you're going to score a guaranteed minimum of 28. Like, not every point is actually worth the same. Like, that's why we
Do you
have the
think
statement.
Kobe's best ball? Here, let me ask Air Maxey. Do you think Kobe's best ball was when he was in 2006, when he was the only person and he was just putting up stats, or do you think when he was winning
Hey,
championships
yo,
in
I'm talking
2009,
about Kevin
2010?
Durant and y'all moving the goalpost to Kobe. You
I
know what?
didn't
This era,
move.
y'all too care about.
I didn't move the goalpost. He might have moved the goalpost. Don't say y'all, because I sure as hell didn't. I asked a simple question, and you're deflecting by saying we're moving the goalpost. I'm not. I'm here. Let me get Prince and then Jay the Wakandan in here, and we got to move on. Prince, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's not that KD can't bring the ball up, but it's harder to make plays when you're bringing the ball up. It's easier for him to make plays when he's off the ball, probably come off the screen or whatever. That's all.
Getting a more comfortable position to where he can
Exactly.
facilitate the offense.
Exactly.
It's crazy Harden's being asked to do both. The expectations on him are to do both out here.
No, actually,
It's cool. The double standard.
the expectation on Harden is to dribble the hell out the ball and then try to drive and get an open path to a 3-point in the corner. That's the expectation.
The subliminal jabs are crazy.
There was nothing subliminal about that
Chris,
jab. That jab was an overhand right.
It's okay.
Overhand right. That wasn't even a jab. That was an overhand right. A left hook coming next.
When KD can't drop 30 and give 10 dimes, we're going to move the goalpost and make all the excuses. Well, Harden, he just got to take the smoke. I want equality for everybody.
It's not equality, it's equity. Jay the Wakandan, you're up next.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome, man. It's time for the 76ers to fire Morey because that's the only way you're going to trade James Harden. And from what I saw last night, it's time to trade James Harden. And what I would like for you to use your massive underground influence to do is a three-teamer. The Sacramento Kings, who want to compete for God knows why, would get James Harden, Montrezl Harrell, D'Anthony Melton. And from the Grizzlies, they would get Killian Tilly and Xavier Tillman. The Sixers would get Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, and Davion Mitchell. And the Grizzlies would get Alex Lynn. Because either Kleiman doesn't understand matchups and size, or Jenkins doesn't understand matchups and size. And so um, the Grizzlies need another big 7 foot, 250 pound man to set the same screens for Bane and Ja Morant when Steven Adams is not on the floor or unavailable. And you're welcome.
Yeah, Steven Adams is actually way more important than a lot of people want to give him credit for because he can't do anything.
Where's LiAngelo Ball when you need him?
Oh, geez, no, that wasn't brought up here. No, sir. LiAngelo Ball's getting ready to sign with the London Lions to go over there and dominate in the UK league. Let's leave it at
Why
that.
is they doing his son like that, man?
Ain't nobody doing. No, he doing himself that way because that's what he
ball,
does.
Man. I saw that preseason game. He cannot ball.
He can shoot.
No, he can't even shoot, Chris.
He can
can't
shoot.
Not
I didn't say he was going to shoot well, but he can shoot.
Is Marvin being serious?
Marvin is being serious.
I understand that this trade cannot be completed to January 15th because of the rules and regulations, but this makes everybody better.
No, it
right?
doesn't.
Oh,
No,
it
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
That's
It does
crazy.
How does it
not.
not? Who does it not make better?
One, it doesn't make Rashawn Holmes better because he
It
ain't going
doesn't
to be.
make De'Aaron Fox
It,
better
it,
when
it ain't
he's
going. Yeah,
involved.
it's not gonna. It's not. He's not going to see the floor, and it's not going to make Davion Mitchell, who's already struggling to see the floor, as a point guard. He's not a shooting guard. He's a point guard.
Maybe they
He,
should get
But he's
Marshawn Brooks.
the
oh,
defensive
What
jeez.
guy.
is
Come
that?
on, man.
We
But he's
have
the
DeAnthony.
defensive guy.
But he's not better than DeAnthony Melton.
Let's
And
talk
no
But,
about
people.
it.
but the
No.
impact, but the impact of getting Harden off the floor.
Well,
De'Aaron Fox
that
and
might be
Harden
something.
don't even go together.
Exactly. You have
Well,
to look at it as a
And
whole.
why would the
The
Kings wouldn't do that for a 1-year rental of James
well, no,
Harden?
we understand. He's
it's a
just
2 year.
trying to.
It's a 2 year
No, I
thing
think he has a
of
player
Harden.
option, doesn't he?
It's a player, but he'll still opt
These are the
in.
jokes that James Harden got to deal with. They don't respect him until he's dead. And when he's dead, oh, he was the
Oh my
greatest scorer of our
gosh!
generation.
Do you hear this
Like
hyperbolic
when a rapper
reaction
passes
here?
away. Just like when a rapper passes away and everybody was a fan. Don't come to his funeral.
All right, moving on. We're gonna talk some New
Can we talk
Orleans
Warriors?
Pelicans. Well, we'll get there. There's gonna be plenty of Warriors talk, Marvin. And I actually have to hit this button next because we're at the midway point of the show already. Damn, super fast. On election day, I got literally no sleep. I had 2 hours and 40 minutes of sleep last night, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because I stayed up to write half of the newsletter. Okay, like 15 game recaps. I must have read 17 articles. I watched every single post game press conference except for 3 because they weren't even posted on YouTube when I woke up at 4:40 this morning. Do me the favor of liking and retweeting a simple tweet, y'all. Seriously. Over 100 people in the room. I got 38. Help a brother
That's very
out.
lazy of y'all to not hit the like button.
Yeah. Shoot a follow. Help us build. You enjoyed the process. You enjoyed the content.
Enjoy the process. It's crazy. Are you taking jabs at my team still?
I'm a Sixers fan. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I can't tell sometimes, Chris.
Brought to you by Slam Goods, ladies and gentlemen. SlamGoods.com, your home for your apparel, collectible, and your news needs. Head over there. Check out what Slam can do for you. Pick up the Rewind series. You can pick up all 3 Kobe Bryant Rewind editions for $30. It's actually $29.97. And then you can use promo code HoopSpaces to save 15%, which comes out to a pretty penny where you could go buy yourself a hot dog at Costco. Times is rough. I'm trying to save you money while supporting your love for the greatest game on the planet Earth, being basketball. Shout out to all of you down below. Please head over to slamgoods.com, promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. Pick up the Slam to the World hoodie. It's on sale for like $70 or $60. You'll save money off of that as well. All right, next game. We got the New Orleans Pelicans and the Indiana Pacers. Everybody thought that the Pacers were going to be in the lead of the Victor Wembanyama Olympics, but they are now 5-5. The Pelicans, who everybody thought was going to be world beaters, are now 5-5. Let's talk about it. We just got done talking about Brandon Ingram. And real side note, here you go. Jimmy Butler didn't average more than 4 assists until his 5th year in the league. Brandon Ingram averaged more than 4 assists in his 4th year in the league. Almost did it his sophomore year. He also actually beat Jimmy in terms of scoring. He averaged double digits in his 2nd year in the league, whereas Jimmy Butler, it took him to his 3rd. So, like, there you go. That's the closest comparison that you will have where we will say you are right. And that's why you got a half a point, Marvin. All right, next
Give
up.
me 3/4 of a point.
Well, you can't give 3/4 of a point. It ends up being
And
bad
Brandon
for
Ingram
me.
was getting held back by LeBron.
What?
Wow. All right. So the Pelicans lost to the Indiana Pacers. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't watched the Pacers, which this is the hardest game for me to watch because they black out every single game because I live in the Indianapolis metro market. I have to go on the dark, deep NBA web because I ain't going on the dark web. That place is scary. But I did. And I watched this game again. And I am here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Tyrese Halliburton is now the prohibitive point guard in the league. Hear what I just said. He is the prohibitive point guard in the league. He is going to be here, and he's going to have a chance to win assist title after assist title after assist title. 20 points, 13 assists for Tyrese Halliburton in the victory. And for a team that was supposed to be tanking, they did a phenomenal job highlighting the talent that they wanted to build around in Tyrese Halliburton. They drafted Benedict Mathurin from Arizona. He has been a revelation coming off the bench. Buddy Hield has went back to his Oklahoma days and is just slaying out three-pointers left and right. Buy or sell Tyrese Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin as the next up-and-coming guard tandem, currently averaging 22 points and 10 assists per game rounded up. That's Tyrese Halliburton on 50% shooting, 46 from the floor, and 88 from the line. We're actually talking at a potential 50, 45, 90 season, which not even Steve Nash was able to accomplish. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Tyrese Halliburton. Jay the Wakandan, you're up.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. I absolutely killed the Kings for trading Halliburton over De'Aaron Fox, and it's bearing fruit. Um, the Kings are actually trying to compete with the third worst record in the West. That's how bad that situation is. And why not add James Harden? Because they're trying to compete. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But nah, the Pacers are really good. Carlisle, um, this should be his last ride. The Pacers should get a young, inventive coach or Sam Cassell to take this team to the next level next year.
Well, I can tell you it won't be Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell is crazy.
It won't be. He should get a job. It will not be Sam Cassell. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, to the dismay of every Pacers fan, and to the adulation and laughing of every Hawks fan, the next Pacers head coach is on the team, and his name is Lloyd Pierce.
Yo, shout out to Lloyd Pierce, man. I remember when didn't he go to college with Steve Nash? That man is a dog, man. He's going to be a hell of a coach. A hell of a coach, man. Shout out to Coach Bino, too.
And a lot of people will laugh because his tenure with the Atlanta Hawks ended obscurely. But oftentimes, and I'm going to say this, and Cash will appreciate this, because I do not try. I try very hard to not add race in here. But this is just something you can't avoid. There are times that we can allude to where black coaches in the NBA don't get a second chance. And Lloyd Pierce is a coach who deserves a second chance. Just think about this. Doc Rivers is a 15 greatest coach of all time. He had 2 losing seasons with the Orlando Magic. Imagine if he never got a second chance.
Imagine if JB Bickerstaff never got a second chance.
Imagine
a top 5 coach in the league right now got fired from Memphis and is doing great things in Cleveland.
Dwayne Casey. Second and third chances. And the third coming after winning Coach of the Year. So everybody, let's go ahead and understand now and accept the fact now and give preemptive applause here for Lloyd Pierce's second chance. And I agree with you, Jay. I think this is Rick Carlisle's last year, or he starts out next year and then towards the end of the season backs away and Lloyd Pierce takes a more prominent role. EK, you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I agree with what you guys were saying about the coaching change. I feel like it's imminent. And I'm a huge Rick Carlisle guy. As you know, Chris, I've called Rick Carlisle a better coach than Glenn Anton Rivers. I'll take him any day of the week, but that's another conversation for another day. But I also want to give some flowers to Miles Turner, because everybody pretty much Tyrese Halliburton, when that trade went down, everybody knew that he was going to be an amazing point guard. Speaking to Halliburton, before I get to Turner, he had a play last night at the beginning of the game where he gets a pass in transition on the left wing, and he throws an offhand bullet between 3 New Orleans Pelicans defenders to Jalen Smith. It was probably one of the best passes I've seen out of all the games that I saw last night. But back to Miles Turner. He became the second fastest Indiana Pacer in franchise history to get to 1,000 blocks. Now, this is a guy who's been 12-9 guy, 12-7 guy. He's averaging 18 points per game this year with 9 rebounds and 40% from the 3-point line, which I think is the biggest improvement that I've seen of a big guy shooting from last year to this year. He's been amazing from the 3-point line, and he's been a more reliable offensive option when you have Tyrese Halliburton who can run the offense the way he can, and when Ben Mathurin, who was, by the way, an absolute dog last year when he was in Arizona. And now that seems to be carrying over to the league along with a lot of their other ancillary pieces. I feel like they're going to be a really, really tough team to go in and play against, especially when they're at home.
Absolutely love it. I agree 100%. I want to take this time to say thank you to the 45 people who have liked the show card for today, which is a ask of people to check out the Hoop Spaces newsletter. No lie, like this is hard stuff. Like if I just wrote like 2 or 3 sentences, that would be different. In fact, I challenge you to actually go to the site and then go check out the first and second edition, and then check out the last 2 and see how every day I am sitting here trying to grow this newsletter to provide you an avenue that you're missing out on. Because I'm not going to lie, it was hard. I watched 8 games. Last night, I watched 8 games. I watched 2 more this morning. I still have more to go, which I have actually one on right now, and I'll get the offensive possessions on the other. It's not easy. ESPN, Fox, SB Nation, they have a team of people. They have money that they pay people. All of this is actually done by myself, our other content creators, part of the Hoop Spaces Network, and we do it for free. Trying to build something and chase a dream. So if you're down there below and you've listened more than once, thank you. But do us the courtesy, like and retweet a single tweet. I should be able to say, hey, we're trying to grow and do more things. We're trying to get noticed and get a deal with the NBA, which I submitted the application for. But in order to do these things, we need to continually grow. And the only way we can show it is if you just do us the favor of liking and retweeting. And like this is as close as you're gonna get to an NPR type show for me. I went in today saying I've got to ask this like every 10 minutes. So like if you're tired of it because you're like, oh my God, why are you doing it? I'm doing it because you're not liking and retweeting. There you go. Aaron Maxey, quick question for you, homie. You ready?
Yo, Chris, it don't cost nothing for a retweet, man. I don't know what's wrong with people, man. You too nice to these people. They be soaking up the good vibes every day. Sometimes you gotta give it back. Life is not a one-way street. What's your question?
All right, my question is, what team do you think has a better chance of making the playoffs? The New Orleans Pelicans or the Indiana Pacers?
That's a good question. The West a little tough. I'm gonna stay with the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm gonna stay with the Pelicans. I think the Pacers gonna bottom out. But Tyrese Halliburton is everything that you did describe. He's next.
He is
He
next.
might even got right now.
He might.
Chris, can I ask you a question?
Sure, Marvin. What you got?
If I came right now today and I asked, this can be a real question, right? Would you rather have Tyrese Halliburton or Zion Williamson for the next 10 years if you were GM? Can you imagine if that was a question entering the 2019 draft? What's your answer?
Well, heading into the 2019 draft, the answer definitely would have been no. Heading into today, the answer is yes. Although I will say, I actually didn't have Zion 1. I had him chosen number 1, but I had Ja Morant number 1 on my board. Followed actually by RJ. And Zion's health was like real scary for me. And I said, as a GM, I know I'm taking Zion. As a GM, I have to take the player that puts butts in the seats and produces. But personally, I skew towards guards as opposed to bigs unless you are a dominating big. And I would have put, Ja Morant slightly ahead. And I'm not going to lie, I was actually really high on RJ coming out of Duke. And I don't understand why people don't like him other than the fact that he takes 3 bad shots a game and plays for the Knicks. So there you go.
So would
Hey,
you
Chris.
Halliburton or Zion?
For right now, I'd have Halliburton. Back in that draft, it's still Zion.
Remember when Halliburton dropped 38 on us?
I do.
Man, that's his career high. I'm just like, sometimes I'm wondering why he don't really cross the 30 threshold. But you did say like point guard blasphemy to me. But I know what you mean. I don't know. DeJounte Murray might have something to say about that.
I love DeJounte. I think he is arguably the second or third best two-way player in the league right now.
And a very much improved shooter from the perimeter as well. That's the one thing I've seen from him.
That's major.
Definitely improved.
Major. That's
No,
major.
don't let that fool you. He was doing that outside of San Antonio. That's a byproduct and construct of San Antonio's offense. All right, like if Evan Townsend was here, he could explain it as well. But the way that they had DeJounte function was the way that they intended Derek White to kind of run the offense when DeJounte was hurt. And it was a lot of pick and roll and drive and kick action, not perimeter oriented. They didn't start adding the perimeter centric attack until they really drafted Keldon Johnson and then doubled up on Devin Vassell. Just go look at it. Like, it really was a lot of pick and roll to Jakob Poeltl with a flare out to a corner 3 that never went in. But DeJounte, I think in Atlanta has ceased to be a point guard and is what people thought Russell Westbrook was going to do next to LeBron James in LA. The guard that can line up next to a point guard, play off the ball, on the ball, and in transition. And that's what the Lakers thought they were getting with Westbrook. That's what Atlanta got with DeJounte Murray. All right, next game, because we still have more to cover before we get to the Warriors. We'll get a real quick talk in here about Houston and Orlando, a game that I doubt many of you watched. I want to give a shout out to my man, a.k.a. Mr. West, not Kanye, so don't worry, he's not crazy. Die-hard Magic fan, was able to make the game, right, and said point blank, I don't care what happens this year. We are happy. Paolo is him. Franz Wagner is him. We have a team that I feel we can finally build around after 20 years as a fan. Everybody, let's give a shout out to all of those Orlando Magic fans, the forgotten professional G League team joke of the last 2 decades. 134-127, they lose to Houston. But understand, these 2 teams are on the come up. If you haven't watched them, I suggest that you put it in your NBA League Pass. Jalen Green, phenomenal, 34 points. Kevin Porter Jr., phenomenal in terms of running the team as a point guard. And if you remember, he is not a traditional point guard. He was drafted out of USC by Cleveland to be a combo scoring guard. Last night, 17 points, 8 boards, 11 assists, better decision-making, although he made the right decision, sometimes he makes the wrong pass. 7 turnovers. Once he starts clearing that up, watch out for these Rockets who have Alperen Sengun giving you double-doubles, finally putting in the starter position, 20 and 10 with 4 assists. Eric Gordon is pumping up his trade value, got 19 off of 5 for 8 from deep. But the biggest fear, and that makes every Rockets fan be quiet, is the lack of production from one Jabari Smith, the second overall pick in the NBA draft. In comparison to Paolo, Jabari played 21 minutes, had 3 points and 4 fouls. Paolo Banchero, 35 minutes, 30 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. There you go. That's why Paolo is right now the far and away lock for the Rookie of the Year. We will revisit that at the turn of the year. Bol, another fantastic game. He got the start, 9 points, 3 boards, a block, and a steal. Wendell Carter Jr. doing Wendell Carter Jr. things, being a rock, 50% shooting, 100% from the line. Franz Wagner is being moved to shooting guard, ladies and gentlemen. That is a 6'9" shooting guard with a 6'10" wingspan who can shoot over every single person in the league, not named Giannis, not named Miles Turner, he struggles against Steven Adams. and probably Victor Wembanyama when he comes in next year. We'll go first to Jay, the Wakanda Tech support, then Bankai and EK. Houston, Orlando, what you got?
Listen, like I said yesterday, it's time we start the Free Jabari Smith campaign. Um, they want Jalen Green to be Tracy McGrady. They want Kevin Porter Jr. to be Tracy McGrady. They want I forget the other wing that they got. Um, but anyway, they're using Jabari Smith the way Kevin Love was used in Cleveland, and that's not who this player is. It is a crime against basketball, and it infuriates me. His usage rate is almost half that of Paolo's. His 2 point field goal percentages are half of Paolo's per 100 possessions. Um, but Jabari Smith, per 100 possessions, is shooting 10 threes a game. So if that doesn't tell you how Houston is using him, I don't know what is. Um, he's too far from the basket to get rebounds. He's shooting a better free throw percentage, but he's not being put close to the basket. And the lane is being clogged by the other promising big they have, Sengun, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
And
Alperen Sengun.
yeah, and it's not that Sengun is a bad player. I like Sengun. I like what he brings to that team. But I do think they would be better served in following Cleveland's model, where they play three out, two in, um, and then develop a pick and roll game with Sengun and Jabari, alternating as the ball handler. Instead of this, we're going to kick it out to Jabari, because what ends up happening is Jabari ends up taking awful shots because he's not getting the ball in the flow of the offense. And there are a lot of frustration. I'm gonna shoot it because this is the first time I've touched the rock in 4 possessions type deal. Um, the Rockets need a point guard. They need a person who thinks about the getting his guys involved first, a la Darius Garland, and it's a mess in Houston. Like, I feel bad for Jabari Smith. He should be trying to angle his way out today.
Like, come on, man.
Nah,
It's 10
nah,
games into the
nah,
season, and you
nah,
over here
nah,
raising the alarm, like saying,
nah.
help,
I've seen
help,
enough.
get me out of here.
Yes,
I think what we need is we need the big brother talk from Sean with a W to tell you to simmer down. Because if the New York Knicks did that
Sean
with
is a
RJ Barrett,
perfect person. Sean is a perfect person to talk about this because the Knicks have never prioritized RJ Barrett's development, and he's
man, look,
developed and blossomed despite of it. But the Knicks really fumbled RJ's development and are
oh,
continuing to
that
do
is
so.
low. That is low hanging fruit,
And
and
he's
you are
right.
baiting him up here. And now he's going to come up here and agree with you as you set him up to be counted to my argument. Jay, like I know what you're doing. You're pulling the
What am,
Deion Sanders, and I
what
appreciate
am I?
that.
What am I
Jackson State
doing?
by 40.
No, by
Give Jay,
40.
yeah, give
Foughty.
Jay a
Yeah,
round of applause.
FAWTY. Foughty.
Yeah, I can't do that. Like, for whatever reason, I try, and then it still comes out 40.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all
Sean,
good.
you got called up
I'm
here.
here.
You know, he baited you with the perfect T-ball shot. What you got?
So one, I find it funny that you can't say 40, but you say better. That's very interesting. No, but Jade is right. I've said this on multiple platforms. Like if a team has two consecutive lottery picks at 3 and 8, most teams say, all right, we got this dude at 3 and this dude at 8. Let's either build around them or see what we have with these two guys. Whereas the Knicks, with two different front offices, decided, all right, let's try to fit these guys into what we're trying to do. So while I do think that RJ has developed, and I do think that RJ like there's some meat left on the bone because again, two different front offices have never just said, RJ, here's the keys, or Obi, here's the keys, and let's go. So yes, he
All
does
right.
have a point, but I think to sound
Question.
alarm after 10 games is ridiculous.
Thank you. There you go. I was going to ask you. That's the question. He's up here after 10 games saying Jabari needs to basically force his way out of Houston.
Ain't nobody listen. One day a player will sign a qualifying offer on his rookie deal and ask out. I don't think he's going to be the guy.
EK, hop in here. What are your thoughts? And then we'll go to Bonkai, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, what's up, Chris? Again, so this topic is very sensitive to me because I am a Houston Rockets fan. Uh, unfortunately, and I think at the beginning of the year, I think we had discussed that the Rockets were probably going to win somewhere between 15 and 19 games. And based on the way things are going, I'm pretty confident I'm going to change that to probably 12 to 16 games because, like Jada Wakandan said, we don't have a point guard who has the ability to get Jabari the ball in places where he needs to get the ball to be successful. I watched him play at Auburn all last year, right? And the thing about it is when you move him around the perimeter and make him into a spot up shooter, he becomes complacent on offense, right? Especially when you're dribbling the ball, dribbling the ball, dribbling the ball, and then kicking it out to him for a bailout three at the end of a shot clock. It's not going to necessarily build his confidence, especially for a young player like that who was drafted so high. And just for the psyche of a young player, you have to probably think that he's looking at what Paolo's doing in Orlando in that wide open offense where they're giving him the ball at the top of the key and letting him create. Jabari has the ability to do that, not at the clip that Paolo can, but he has the ability to do that. He did that at Auburn last year, right? So I feel like we need to get some type of pure point guard in who has the ability to feed not only Jabari, but get Sengun, Kenyon Martin Jr., Terry Eason, all these young guys' ability, situations to score effectively, especially around the basket, because we don't have the ability to shoot the ball consistently in comparison to how we shoot the ball and how frequently we shoot the ball from the perimeter. And that's the main issue with our team. And until we get that fixed, we are definitely going to be in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes unwillingly, because I thought we were going to try to compete this year, but obviously not.
The biggest problem that I have with the Rockets is that Jabari Smith, and I just put this tweet out here, and shout out to those who know, Jabari Smith gives me a hell of a lot of Joe Smith vibes, man. Just Joe Smith.
I don't think a lot of people
tell you why.
remember him.
It is
That
absolutely
same Joe
unfortunate,
Smith
but I think you may be right,
from
Chris.
the
I'm
Hornets.
gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why, Chris.
Why?
Because out of 11 free field goal attempts per game, 6 of them are threes.
Nah, Joe Smith actually he took long twos. He didn't take a lot of threes.
Well, that was because of the era he played in. If you scale Joe Smith to this era, he's shooting those as threes because of
the
analytics and all that stuff.
the problem is with Joe Smith, he was just a better college player than he was a pro player.
No. The issue with Jabari Smith was Kessler was in the way in Auburn, clogging up the paint, and now in Houston, Jalen Green is and Kevin Porter Jr. are both trying to be Trace McGrady at the same time. Jabari Smith is shooting 11 shots a game. Sengun is shooting 11 shots a game. Sengun is hitting 57.7% from the field. And you want to know why? Guess why?
Why?
Because out of those 11 attempts a game, 1.3 are three pointers. So if you were to look at their competitive shot charts, Sengun is by far the most effective, efficient player, but it's because Jabari Smith is the guy that they've decided to put outside. So Houston should be playing 3 out, 2 in through the post because Sengun and Jabari Smith are their more effective, efficient players. But good luck convincing Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. that they're the Mulberry to their Garnett rather than the Kobe to their Pau Gasol.
I'll tell you, Jay, as a Houston fan, it is infuriating watching this team play each and every night. I try not to spill it out on here too much because I don't like to talk about teams that, quite frankly, are irrelevant and aren't really doing much, but it is extremely infuriating.
But that's what we're
Oh,
here
it is
for.
for me too.
That's
It is
what
for
we're
me
here
too.
for.
Like I'm watching Rockets basketball, and they're what I call the remote breaker team. They're the team that makes you want to break your remote.
My brother almost threw. Okay, never mind. I'm
Al
not gonna go
Yeah,
there.
I know.
Al
I know.
Prince Sengun has a problem. Like he's efficient in everything in the game of basketball except for shooting. He is so unathletic that even I, who am unathletic, can probably contest a shot.
Chris, you don't complain about a man in his age 20 season that's giving you 17 and 10 on 58% from the field.
Well, that 58 is skewed because there's a couple of games he goes 7 for 8. Sean, hop in here, and then we'll get Prince in here as well, and we'll move on to the next game, ladies and gentlemen. As God, every team played. Next up, OKC in Detroit. Let's go.
Really quick. To EK, I think you're the Rockets fan. Do I have that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
you're correct.
All right. So let's say my question for you is: let's say you stink and you're in the lottery and you win the Wembanyama sweepstakes. Who are you shipping out between the young
Everybody
boys?
not named Jalen Green.
Yeah, pretty much everybody's gone at that point. I mean, if we get Victor Wembanyama, you can build a team between Jalen Green and Victor Wembanyama. I wouldn't mind that because we would have a clear direction at where the future would be.
You can ship out Jalen Green at that point too.
Nah, they'll keep him. They will keep Sengun because they'll play Sengun in the middle. They will keep Tari Eason and they will keep Jalen Green.
But everybody else is gone.
Everybody else is available.
Everybody else would be gone. Yeah,
because at that point, like you're like Kevin Porter Jr. signed an extension more so because the Rockets looked outside themselves and said, if we let him walk, there's nobody here to replace him of equal ability. And they drafted Ty Washington. They picked up Deshaun Nix last year. Neither one of them are anywhere near ready running an NBA offense as a point guard. Prince, hop in here. We'll close out with Jay. We'll move on to Detroit and Oklahoma City. We still have Denver and San Antonio. And we'll go to Cleveland and the Clippers. And we'll close out talking some Lakers and Jazz real quick. And then we'll save the 47-point performance for last as Golden State is struggling. And they needed to be bailed out again by Steph Curry. Go ahead, Prince. What you got?
I agree with Jay. Porter and Green both trying to do too much. I think Green really should just be the guard because he was actually doing that in school. He was passing, so I think he should be the guard. But that's my take.
All right, cool. Jay, hop in here. Close us out on the Rockets.
EK. All right. Jabari Smith for Brandon Clark and 2024 picks that are lottery protected. Since you're getting Wembanyama anyway.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. You wouldn't give they would no, that's just bad.
I don't think no, definitely not that. Now that's a funny
You're getting Wembanyama. I'm saying.
Yeah, you're asking for like a 3-for-1 coupon, man. We stopped doing that since Sizzler was a thing, man. Come on now.
I'm asking to free Jabari Smith. It lowers EK's stress level, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You're giving him Brandon Clark, a dude who can't shoot, and he needs guys who can shoot.
Yeah, we need.
No, he doesn't. He's finna get Wembanyama. You need more bricklayers.
No, you need shooters.
Wait, did I hear that he needs shooters?
Shooters. And
shooters.
Don't you do.
Is that Evan Fournier music?
Oh,
is that Evan Fournier music?
Moving on. The Denver Nuggets beat the San Antonio Spurs in a game that even I had trouble keeping up with because, no offense to the Denver Nuggets or the San Antonio Spurs, y'all boring. Like it's boring. I don't know if y'all watched it. It was boring until the fourth quarter when Jamal Murray finally decided to show up and ball out in the fourth quarter. But it's one of those things when you have such a dominating presence in Nikola Jokic, like you can see what's going to happen before the guy crosses half court. And at that point, you're just kind of like, all right, on to the next one. Nikola Jokic, 26, 8 boards, 10 assists, 2 boards away from another triple-double, 55% from the floor, 80% from the field. Michael Porter Jr., let's just understand this. Like, he is Lauri Markkanen. He doesn't want to rebound. He doesn't want to play defense, but he sure loves shooting the ball. 24 points, 4 for 8 from deep, 9 for 16 from the floor. But let's be honest, if this team doesn't have Bones Highland, we're looking at like a 3-7 squad. Bones Highland is coming off the bench every game, providing at least 3 minutes of absolutely dead needed offensive production from a bench that is abysmal. He had 14 points on 5 for 10, 3 for 5 from deep. Here's your other bench scores. Bruce Brown, 2 points. Jeff Green, 6 points. DeAndre Jordan got involved with 4 points. And if you ever watched DeAndre Jordan the last couple of years, the fact that he is up here scoring points for the Denver Nuggets is just mind-boggling. And then for the San Antonio Spurs, another fantastic performance from Keldon Johnson. I think a lot of people will poo-poo on him because the Spurs are probably going to bottom out. He deserves to be in your most improved player assessment by the end of the year. 12 for 20 from the floor, including 45 from deep, 5 for 11 for 30 points. You got Devin Vassell back. He had 17. But I do want to give a shout out to Trey Jones. 20 points and 9 assists, and probably has played himself out of the trade equation for the remainder of the season for the San Antonio Spurs. And shout out former 76er Charles Bassey, who got picked up. He had 3 points, 8 boards, and some good defense. If anybody has anything they want to say about the Spurs-Nuggets game, go ahead. Now's the time. If not, I'm just going to move on because I can't tell you. Like, it was just not – it was a very unentertaining game until the fourth when Jamal Murray basically went 4 for 5 and saved the game for Denver.
Jokic is the Tom Osborne Nebraska triple offense of basketball. It's inevitable.
I could take that. I can accept that. It's so
it's a meat grinder of an offense. It's just, I'm gonna hit you with this action over and over and over and over, and even when it doesn't work, it's still gonna work. Like,
and he does it in such an unathletic way at times, and you just look at like, how are you so dominant? How do you do this game in and game out?
Because he's 2 plays ahead of a league with a bunch of guys who only played 1 year of college ball, if that. That's why.
I'll give you that one too. Spurs, like they lost what 4 of the last 5 after starting 5-2. So 3 of the last 4 after starting 5-2. They're struggling and they don't really have the depth. I think what happened also with the Primo incident probably weighs a little bit heavily on some of the players because, from what I understand, nobody knew. Like, it was all a surprise. And like, imagine you go to work every day and then all of a sudden a coworker isn't there. You're gonna have like a week or 2 where it kind of affects you trying to figure out what's happening. You try your best not to be distracted, but like, they're getting asked every day about what they knew, and I think this is a natural reaction to that unfortunate situation. And if you're wanting an update, we here, for me, I'm not going to bring an update until we get more of the legal process through. Currently, Bear County, it's spelled Bexar, it's still pronounced Bear, or the Sheriff's Office is investigating. San Antonio PD is investigating, and the victim who's making the allegation just filed suit. So there's plenty of legal actions that have to roll through before we really bring it up. We did the same thing with Miles Bridges, who pleaded no contest, received 3 years probation for his incident with the mother of his children, and we're still waiting on the league to adjudicate any potential disciplinary action, but they can't because he's not signed yet. So we won't know until he's signed what the potential outcome is for that. All right. Detroit, Oklahoma City, 112-103. For everybody who's been watching Detroit because they were on your League Pass preseason watch, you finally got a glimpse of a super aggressive Cade Cunningham, 21 points, 11 boards, 7 assists, but he was a little bit too aggressive, 5 turnovers, and I counted at least 4 shots he shouldn't even thought about taking. They're going to tell you to take those shots, though, because that's building him up to be able to take it later. But I definitely would have been happy, especially that one on the left wing, had he just gave the ball up. Jaden Ivey, 13 points, 11 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. This kid is phenomenal. If you've yet to see him, he's got some rounding out to do, and he's not a point guard, but he can actually facilitate kind of off the ball. And they're going to have a very unique lineup that I think actually moves more to a 3-guard lineup. They're still short a couple of the players that I think they ultimately want to build around, but I see them putting Sadiq Bey as the primary starter at their scoring forward spot, with Bogdanovich coming off the bench after Jalen Duren becomes the starting center. Isaiah Stewart, a phenomenal game for what he does. 11 points, 12 boards, but he doesn't necessarily make the difference that Jalen Duren had been able to do in the short amount of time in terms of rebounding the basketball and setting effective picks and screens. So you got that part. Oklahoma City, there was a lot of buzz for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He appeared in some people's MVP's top board. Somebody asked me, is this right? I'm like, sure, if you're 7 games in. 33 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, 13 for 23. But what's going to end up shooting him in the foot is the fact that he's not able to win games that teams should win. And if you go in thinking that Oklahoma City turned the corner and that SGA is an actual MVP candidate, there's no excuse. They have to figure out a way to beat the likes of Detroit. Detroit is a young team. They don't necessarily have a fundamental offense, simply for the fact that they've recycled each starting squad. God, 14 times last year, twice already this year. And they need to capitalize on this opportunity. Now, if you are of the mind that they are tanking, then forget what I said. I want to give a shout out though to one player that a lot of people seem to have forgotten about, and I think it's a player that will be available. And I think there's a team right now who could use him, and that's Mike Muscala, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out Mike Muscala, the lone veteran remaining on the Oklahoma City Thunder squad. And I tell you what, I'm not gonna lie, he would look real good in a Miami Heat uniform next to Bam Adebayo as another big body who actually can shoot the 3. There you go. Mike Muscala, sneaky pickup for the Miami Heat? I think so. We'll hear what your thoughts are in a moment. If you have anything that you want to add to this OKC Detroit game, now's the time. I don't know how many of y'all watched it. I did. That was the second to last game I watched last night. And again, it's something else. Anybody? No?
Hey,
All
Chris,
right.
I'll say something real quick about Cade. Because I've watched some of his games, some of the Detroit games this year, and he has been more aggressive. But I think he's going through the growing pains of, his rookie year. He was sort of getting his footing. He also had the injury early in the year, his rookie year, so he wasn't really able to come on and show what he could do until the end of the year last year. And now we're sort of seeing him work his way through the offense. And with young players, they're going to take a lot of ill-advised shots. That's been the case throughout most of the history of the NBA, and especially in this shot-happy, analytic-happy NBA we're in right now. As a second-year player, even though I don't like some of the shots he took down the stretch last night, I expect that of him because he is the main guy. He's been told he's the main guy. He has the franchise in his hands, right? And they positioned him to be that way. So I think the thing that Detroit fans should kind of look out for is if he continues to do these things year after year after year, then it becomes an issue. But if he's made of the right stuff, and I think he's made of the right stuff, I think he'll eventually work his way out of that as guys like Sadiq Bey and Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart come along for that team.
Killian Hayes ain't coming along nowhere. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. He needs to get out of Detroit. He needs to start over. I had a pretty good high hopes for him. In fact, like last night was his best night shooting, I think, of the season at 2 and 5 at 40%.
But I said that because you've talked about Killian Hayes before. I just wanted to get your reaction.
Yeah, look, man. Dwayne Casey is not known to play rookies, and when he was drafted, like the word, and I wish Matthew Maurer was here at the draft review. All the physical intangibles that you could want in a player, The issue was he couldn't shoot, and he didn't have a lot of experience against top flight talent. And boom, here we are. All right, I want to give a shout out to Alex Clarence. I'm replying to you. He puts out here in this day of age and players, seems like players have to adjust to be combo guys, not just to score, and that's a byproduct of the movement towards the idea of positionless basketball. And the next team that we're going to talk about actually does this in a way that's allowed them to be competitive for multiple years. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Miami Heat. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Miami Heat are one of the first teams to truly adopt the idea of positionless basketball and put it in a way that allowed them to be effective as well as compete in the Eastern Conference. Last night, snake bitten again by the Cardiac Trailblazers using Josh Hart's last-second three-pointer in the corner to sneak out a win, 110-107, over the Miami Heat, who were playing without Tyler Hero, who's another player that a lot of people just need to go ahead and get it through their head is a good basketball player. Hopefully he gets back out there on the court. He was replaced in the starting lineup by Max Strus, who is also a good basketball player. Max Strus, 16 points, 6 for 10 from the floor, 4 for 8 from deep. Kyle Lowry finally having the game that every Heat fan has been asking for, 5 for 8 from the floor, 4 for 6 deep, 7 boards, 8 assists for 15 points. The problem in this game, Jimmy Butler was not Jimmy Butler, ladies and gentlemen. 5 for 14 shooting, which is just not the same Jimmy that we're used to. He still put out 7 assists, a whopping 6 steals with lockdown defense. He just couldn't shoot the ball. And my question to you, if you're watching the Miami Heat, do you buy that Eric Spoelstra will be able to get this team in a position to perform consistently offensively? Or are we already looking at currently constructed, essentially the ceiling of what the Miami Heat can do without Victor Oladipo, who is still out due to his knee injuries? We'll put that around the panel. We have also been joined by Daniel Artest of the DA Pod. What's up, DA? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? How you doing, brother? Yeah. I got to send Killian Hayes to Gilligan's Island, man. He's done. And I think he has too many chances to show what he can do, and he hasn't shown it. And what I mean, that's okay. And he might be a better player on a different level of basketball. I just think that I think that his NBA days is pretty much done. Like his them shooting numbers is horrible, but it's been like that. So, I hope that he don't get out the league, but it looked like this might be his last season. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I know I missed like a lot of the show, so I'm just here to just listen in and catching up. I know y'all probably talk about the Lakers or whatever. I did a podcast and I actually did a song on the podcast and about getting AD up out of there just so the Lakers can get better. You don't want to trade them, but in order to get the assets they need to compete, because when you just got LeBron and AD and everybody else can't shoot, it's just a badly built team right now. And obviously you can't get rid of Westbrook because nobody want him or whatever. So I kind of feel like what the Lakers got to do is actually consider it, and also Jeannie Buss, what she got to do as well is chill on the Laker loyalty and hiring inside of the organization and just go outside, spend some money, go outside and find, somebody competent to actually do a good roster build. But yeah, thanks for letting me share, brother.
Yeah, no problem. We're going to actually get into some Lakers talk. We covered every game. Every game. We've got one more before we get to the Warriors and the Lakers, who lost to the Jazz, and the Warriors beat the Kings. 2 games actually. One quick game: the Bulls and Raptors played the second game of a back-to-back. The Raptors dominated the Bulls in the first game through defense. Second game was a different story. Zach LaVine back and better than ever, healthy, 30 points. Fred VanVleet, 27. But the real issue with Chicago is DeMar DeRozan, who had himself another off game offensively in scoring. He only took 6 shots. But he did manage to actually eat up every double team for the most part and still push out 7 assists. The biggest fear that they have is the inability, though, to stay consistent on offense due to the injury of Lonzo Ball. I would assume who's been doing a pretty good job as the starting point guard. But I want to ask, buy or sell to the panel, either of these two teams, the Chicago Bulls or the Toronto Raptors. I think more people are high on the Raptors, specifically when Pascal Siakam is in there. So I think people will buy it. But the Chicago Bulls are the Chicago Bulls, and they have been consistently inconsistent. So let's get those thoughts out the way. We'll open up first with Jay. We'll go to DA, EK, buy or sell Chicago. Then we'll move over to LA and Cleveland, and we'll close the show on the Lakers and the Warriors. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I buy Chicago as a second round team. I don't buy them as a contender because Lonzo Ball not being there they're not what they're supposed to be on paper. And Lonzo Ball being 6'6", able to guard 1 through 3, and also get easy shots for the non um, offensive inclined teammates that he has. They just don't have enough on either side of the ball to be really considered a serious contender. So I believe in them as a second round team, but that's as far as I go with the Bulls.
All right, DA, buy or sell Chicago.
Yeah, I agree with Jay only because like with the Lonzo Ball situation, they don't have really like great perimeter defenders outside of Caruso, and once that goes, then their whole defense is like kind of shot. So yeah, I don't see them really making a lot of noise. As far as like being a contender, I have actually could see them actually getting up out of there in the first round, depending on which Lonzo Ball you're going to get when you come back. And that's funny to say that like Lonzo Ball is the key, but he really is from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, and I also want to put out they probably win this game. Chicago does because of the play of Nikola Vucevic, who just ate up every rebound on the inside without Pascal Siakam playing again. That's the Achilles heel of Toronto. Every loss that they've had, they've been dominated by rebounds. Chicago had 49 last night to 31 from Toronto. And if I remember correctly, I think out of those 49 total, 9 were offensive rebounds, and they got 6 points from those offensive rebounds. And if you look at the final score, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we try to get every rebound. It got super close. Had Toronto, evened out, they probably win this game because they control momentum. Next game up, Los Angeles Clippers and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a must-win already for the Los Angeles Clippers, who now face life once again without Kawhi Leonard for an unknown period of time. Paul George leading all scores for the Clippers with 26. Marcus Morris popped in 20. Ivica Zubac, 10 and 9. But I want to give a big shout out to Terrence Mann, who had been left out of the rotation for the majority at the beginning of the season due to Kawhi's return. 30 minutes last night, 20 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 boards, 6 for 9 shooting. And ladies and gentlemen, he's probably now their most athletic defender on a night-to-night basis. And if he can actually, develop into the player that I thought he was turning into last year, I think that bodes well for the Clippers stabilizing the beginning of the season and getting up to 42 to 46 wins. And that's the key number for them is 42 to 46, 500 or better. Buy or sell the Los Angeles Clippers. We'll go next to EK. We'll bring up Prince. We'll hear DA and Jay. Appreciate everybody. Go ahead, EK. Good morning.
Yes, sir. So speaking on the Clippers, I'm going to buy the Clippers, and the reason why is because it seems like their core is starting to gel a little bit. I think because of the expectations of Kawhi coming back at the beginning of the year, and then all of the sort of last minute reports of him saying of basically them saying that he won't be able to play this amount of games, this amount of games. There was a lot of uncertainty. Now there's a number on it, there's a metric on it, and they know how long he's going to be out. They can actually start to gel and play together. And listen, they played an extremely hot Cleveland Cavaliers team last night, probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NBA right now. And when you look at just the stat line, they had 6 guys in double figures. 5 of those guys had 15 plus points on very good efficiency and also very good defense. And this is the type of ball that the Clippers and also the Clippers fans, I thought, were expecting them to play at the beginning of the year. And I think they're going to get even better when they do eventually work Kawhi back into the lineup. But in the Western Conference, every win is pivotal. And if they can put themselves in the position to be 5, 6, 7 games over 500 consistently before Kawhi comes back, that's going to put them in a very good position to finish, in my opinion, top 2 or 3 in the West. So I'm definitely going to buy the Clippers.
All right, cool. Let's see. Go ahead, Prince. What you got? Hate to see it, man. Almost got through the entire show without the horns. We'll move to Jay to Wakandan. Jay, go.
No, I don't believe in the Clippers because Kawhi is not a role player you're trying to fold in. You're trying to fold in the hub of your offense. And to go night to night without knowing you're gonna get the guy or not get the guy that's gonna take 20 shots a night, that's a big deal. Like if Kawhi was a role player, who was gonna get 8 shots a night, that's a very different thing. But I just don't think that you can do that as a team, as veteran laden as they are, as experienced as they are. Chemistry, rhythm, and rotations, and the comfort of routine matter, and you're not going to get that with Kawhi. So I'm out on the Clippers.
All right, Prince, hop back in here if you're able to.
Yeah, man. Shout out to John Wall. I like what I seen. I think he'll be a great addition to Kawhi and Paul. I don't know what the hell Paul did. Like, missed the free throw. I don't know, but yeah. Shout out to John Wall. I'm glad to see him back.
All right, Da, you have anything, or did you catch the game?
No, I didn't catch the game, but with the Clippers, I just think that I'm a hold out on them. Like it's not like I'm in a buy or sell. I'm just going to be in a waiting pattern because I kind of feel like with this roster at this point, they just got to get healthy and just focus on being that team for 3 months, that April, May, and June team, just getting ready for the postseason and everything. So like I think the Clippers. I'm not gonna write them off or whatever, but I do think you have your concerns, But I think that like Jada Wakanda said, they got a lot of veterans though. So these veterans that have been around the block so many times that they know how to play and hold the fort down to until Kawhi gets healthy. They might not have a lot of wins, but they'll definitely have enough wins to get at least maybe like a 6, maybe be top 6 in the playoff standings for the West. And then if Kawhi is healthy enough to come back, then they could probably do something. I think that if he's healthy, there could be a scary out. So I'm just going to be in holding pattern with the Clippers.
All right, I feel you. The biggest takeaway that I got is that Evan Mobley finally showed what he can do offensively. 26 points on 12 for 18. He did foul out, and I think if he doesn't foul out, it's a different story. I think this is the first sign that Cleveland is starting to realize that they're going to have to play more through Evan Mobley when everybody's healthy, as he also led the team in attempts and in field goal attempts. Donovan Mitchell took 15. He also had 3 free throw attempts. The killer part, he was 8 for 11 from deep. Darius Garland was 2 for 9 from deep, and he was still 8 for 17. He added 12 assists in as well. This team is going to be super scary, especially when you add in the fact that you have Jared Allen going 10 points, 20 rebounds, and Kevin Love, who probably should rightfully get some consideration for 6th man of the year, still coming off the bench, hitting 4 for 8 from deep, 5 free throws, as well as giving you 4 assists and 8 rebounds. You know what? They were a Karis LeVert, decent game away from winning this and going to 9-1. So I actually tend to send the Clippers. I think that without Kawhi Leonard, I think they're going to severely struggle. Prince will give you 15 seconds. Jay, we'll close this up with you. We'll get a good reset, and we'll talk to the main culprits of the NBA media narrative. We're talking Golden State and Lakers after this. Go ahead, Prince. 30 seconds.
I'm not gonna lie. I really don't like Kawhi's game. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't be sorry. If he's healthy, I would disagree, but right now, sure, I don't like it either because he ain't playing. Jay, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think the Cavs should play through their post players, but I think last night was a product of the Clippers not having any post players other than Zubac. So it made sense. They just got a little 3 happy. Well, Garland got a little 3 happy. Everybody else was hot on both sides of the ball. But yeah, if Garland takes 3-4 less threes and Evan Mobley gets those touches, I do think they pull out that W.
All right, so you have zero faith in Nicholas Batum or Robert Covington playing backup five?
Against the Cavs? No.
Against anybody. Against anybody.
I mean, against the Grizzlies, they're going up against the mighty Xavier Tillman. So,
I'd still take. I would take Tillman. The killer part is that the Clippers gave Nick Batum $21 million. Actually, 22.5. Like, they signed him in the offseason to a 2-year extension for 21.5.
Man, Ballmer long hair don't care, baby. That's all I can say.
Shout out to Nick Batum. Keep getting them checks, man. I'm happy for you. I was a huge Batum fan, man. I remember when he signed that contract out of Portland and he signed in Charlotte. I was like, yo, Charlotte gonna be nasty. And they weren't.
They were nasty, but it was a different nasty.
All right, so 2 games that held everybody's attention for opposite reasons. We had the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody was watching this to watch the Lakers lose. Let's be honest. We like it when they lose. 99% of NBA fans, including Lakers fans, like it when they lose. Like, literally, you hop on this app and nobody in Lakerland is happy. Like, if they win, they get mad that they win. If they lose, they get mad that they lose. And to that point, I asked a couple, are you even Laker fans? Like, and the answer is, like, mind-numbingly to me, no. But here we are, 2-8, 139-116. And then to make matters worse, we could have had both gold standard teams lose last night, as Golden State needed Steph Curry to be MVP Steph to bail themselves out of losing at home to Kevin Huerter and the Sacramento Kings. And to that point, that was a foul. Like, look what the refs in the league office said after the fact. It was a foul. And so here we are. 2 teams who are supposed to be world beaters can barely beat or don't beat teams who are supposed to be tanking. We're here. We're talking Lakers. We're talking Warriors. We'll go to TJ next. TJ, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I was about to, if it wasn't for a great fourth quarter from Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins, I would have been like, hey, we're tanking for Victor Wembanyama. Because this game was very nasty. Shout out to Draymond Green. We're going to quietly erase that triple single moniker. He scored a double digits. So I was really impressed with that. But I want to get into the meat and potatoes, which is this Young Dubs team. I don't know what the hell Steve Kerr is doing, but Anthony Lamb should not be getting that many amount of minutes when Kuminga needs some development. Kuminga had 5 minutes. Didn't really look too good, but I like what he's doing. He's working on his post game. I don't know why Wiseman didn't get his run, but it's probably because Steve Kerr wanted to do something differently. Jordan Poole, where the hell was he at? Oh, I know what he was doing. He was holding a puppy. And other than that, man, like the Kings had a great first half. Sabonis was really doing work down in the paint because he had nobody really to stop him. Malik Monk had a great game. He was shooting pretty well. And then the second half, we kind of turned up the defensive intensity a little bit. And then that tech by Steph Curry kind of woke up everybody, and he went bananas. 47 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. But I think the really quiet unsung hero was Andrew Wiggins. Didn't miss a shot in the fourth quarter. Shot efficiently from the field. Almost damn near shot 60% from the field, 50 from the three-point line. We got to talk about Klay Thompson as well. Had an off shot shooting night, but I like the fact that he's still firing. We got to give him a little bit more grace, but we really need to talk about this Young Dubs team. I'm kind of wondering what everyone else is thinking.
Shooter, shoot. Clay's a shooter. Jay, go, and then we'll go to DA after that, and we'll talk about the baby Dubs, who looked very much like babies last night. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with TJ that they should absolutely get rid of the babies because that's what's holding them back. So I am willing to help our rivals, the Warriors, out by trading Danny Green with his championship experience for James Wiseman. Um, because Wiseman's holding you back. His plus minus splits are awful, um, and you need that championship experience. So Danny Green, James Wiseman, let's get it done. Appreciate you, TJ.
That is
Oh, that's nasty,
nasty.
Jay. That's
That
nasty.
is nasty. Da, hop in here and save us from that just god awful
It
trade.
it sounds nasty because of it's James Wiseman and Danny Green, but technically it's really not nasty. Let me tell you something. With with James Wiseman when he came in, the Warriors was actually in rebuild mode. Once they got all their players back, now they're in championship mode. So James Wiseman is stuck. You know, I kind of feel like he's not the guy for the Warriors. He don't have the mental process to play Warriors basketball, move the ball quick. Even with Kaminga, but I do think it actually having Wiseman on the roster right now actually hurts Kaminga because Kaminga got to play out of position, which is his natural position. But when Kaminga's at the 4 and the 5, he was actually flourishing, being active and everything. We've seen it in the playoffs, right? So I'm on board with. I said on my podcast yesterday. If y'all just listen to, I said on my podcast yesterday that I'm on board with getting rid of Wiseman. I even to keep Draymond Green because they don't want to go to that level of what that tax level. I'm sorry, I'm just going off the head right now. The Warriors will be at the tax level with like $15 million. That's that's James Wiseman's deal right there. I would definitely get rid of Wiseman. Let him develop on his own way with a different team because he can't play at the Warriors level of basketball. So I mean, that's just what it is. You see how the Warriors play when the starting. All right, let's do it like this. The starting five of the Warriors is the best starting five in the NBA. The number says it. I think that per 100 possessions, they're like 27 points ahead. Um, they're plus 27 or something like that. And then when James Wiseman is in the game, they're like negative 30. James Wiseman is negative 30 when he's in the game because they go from moving the ball, playing that warrior style, that freestyle of basketball to being a pick and roll team. And I think that it actually hurts Jordan Poole, because Jordan Poole is struggling, even with the turnovers. Jordan Poole, like at this point, he's playing more minutes and he has way more turnovers. You know what I'm saying? So with the Warriors, it's just with them. They're going to have to give up that young player in Wiseman. Probably try to dupe somebody into taking them and getting like an established veteran back so they can continue their thing. Because, like I said, like they got to show up that bench because that bench is horrible. But that starting five is the best starting five in the league right now, and that's.
Yeah, I actually like Wiseman, and I agree 100%. The offense is really the problem. He doesn't fit in that offense, and it's because he can't shoot. But the difference between him and say Draymond is at least Draymond throws it up there, and James Wiseman just isn't comfortable enough with throwing it up there. Let me get EK's thoughts. We'll go Prince. If Mike is still there, we get him, and we'll bounce back up to TJ, and I'll give my take on the baby dubs as well. EK, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I love the nickname Baby Dubs. I think it's very, very appropriate and apropos to the way those young guys are playing. Pretty much, I have the same sentiments as everybody in here. I feel like Steve Kerr is trying to work these young guys into the system with the hopes that they'll eventually get it, maybe halfway through the season, maybe towards the second half of the season to gear up for the playoffs. But that's a big gamble, especially because of the efforts that Steph Curry is having to put out night by night to either squeak by teams that they shouldn't have to squeak by or just flat out losing the teams they shouldn't be losing to. So I feel like it needs to be some fire under Steve Kerr's ass, for lack of a better term, to get him to understand that, listen, we're in the Western Conference. Every win matters. We can't fall too far behind trying to bring these young guys along. I like Kaminga as well. But like you said, Chris, him and Wiseman, they don't really fit into the offense because they don't have the ability to shoot the basketball. And that utility sort of short roll guy or a high screen and roll position has been taken and has been secured by Draymond Green for the better part of a decade, right? So unless one of those guys can fill that role, probably Kaminga can fill that role to his full potential. I don't think they're really gonna have the opportunity to get any better. So what is the solution? the solution would be to try to either move some of those guys out or to try to stagger their minutes to the point where you either have Steph on the floor, Clay on the floor, and Draymond on the floor in some type of combination. Um, that's probably the only way it's going to get fixed. Other than that, I don't really know what Steve Kerr's doing, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
All right, Micah, if you're there, I didn't realize you're still up on stage. If not, Prince, take over.
Oh, barely missed the buzzer. I'm trying to break that record, Chris. I swear.
You know what? I don't think you will. The person who has the record, he had like I think 8.
Oh, in
So
one
like,
day? Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I don't know that bench is stinky. Like it's so crazy how much their bench throws off their overall team because like it's already stated. If you look at starting five numbers as far as offensive and defensive rating, they're the top of the league. They're like top 3 of the league. However, when you throw in the bench numbers on top of that, all of a sudden they drop down to like bottom 3 defensively. And I can't, like, offensively they're okay, but I don't know. I think their bench is just too young and they're too inexperienced and they really haven't went through a development stage yet. You know, it takes these guys a long time. It's not everybody's not going to be like Luka and be and pop the first year or other guys like like Jalen Brunson. He took like 4 years to develop. Josh Green, this is year 4 for him. We're just now seeing that big leap. So I think these guys are just like you said, they're Golden State babies and they just need time to develop, and we'll see how it works out. But I don't know.
All right. Appreciate it. Prince, thoughts on the Warriors? I don't know, Micah. Prince is going to be challenging you, man. He's up here struggling too. We're gonna get Dime Dropper up here, ladies and gentlemen. The Dime Dropper Pod. You can find him on YouTube. You can also find him hosting Locked On Clippers. Best Clippers reaction and coverage, by the way. And there was a kerfluffle within social media a couple weekends ago in regards to what's considered fan content. If you have a passion for basketball and you watch the game and you have a regimented process or some form of consistency on how you view it and how you want to share and express your opinion, it doesn't matter if you're a fan, it doesn't matter if you're a former player, and it doesn't matter if you went to school to become a journalist. You're doing the same thing. You're putting in the work, you're putting in the time, and you're trying to share your passion with others. And that's why I appreciate Dime Dropper. And I want to have everybody down below who's still in the room shoot my man a follow. Check him out at the Dime Dropper Pod on YouTube. Check him out on Locked On Clips. He's a member of the Hoop Spaces creative community. Dime Dropper, real quick, you do the Clippers, but you also do the Lakers. All right, we're about to get there. But give us your thoughts on these baby dubs and the Warriors' problems. Plug in the Locked On Clips episode, and then after I clear the hands, we're going to move on to some Lakers talk.
As always, appreciate the intro, Chris. Always appreciate the support. I've actually watched a good amount of the Warriors games. I did not get to watch the game last night because I was at the Clipper game, but one thing I've noticed is I think people are making a little too much about the bench. The reason why I say that is because I think Steve Kerr has been a little too experimental. I do agree. Like there are certain games. I was watching all their road games when they lost that losing streak, except for the Pelicans one. And there are times where he'll throw all of them out there at once, like just all total bench unit. And that makes them seem like the Houston Rockets kind of. Like they just have a bunch of kids. Jordan Poole's like their most experienced player in that lineup alongside JaMychal Green, who has declined a little bit, I might say, because as somebody who's had him on my team before,
He's definitely declined a bit. I think DiVincenzo is going to help this second unit a lot when he comes back. But I think that it's tough when you throw all the kids out there. Moody and Wiseman, they didn't really play like that last season. So it's kind of new for them. And Wiseman is really getting used to getting put in pick and roll on defense. I don't think they should panic with him, though. I think that you got to give him a chance. He's only averaging 14 minutes a game. So for him to be scapegoated in this certain way, like he's the only reason they're having problems, I disagree. I also think the plus minus for the starters is fool's gold. And I'm going to explain why. Steph Curry alleviates a lot of the issues going on with that team in the starting lineup. Klay Thompson is shooting 36% from the field. His defense has dropped off significantly. In addition to that, I don't think Draymond Green is having the same impact he's normally had on defense. I watched those games on the road, and this is not the Draymond Green who's super active on the back line, rotating everywhere, talking up a storm. It was very, average from him. And when offensively, he's not all that. So I think the reason why you can't just get rid of Wiseman is I really don't trust Klay Thompson and Draymond Green much anymore. I don't know how much they got left in the tank, I'm going to be honest. But I like what I see from Looney and Wiggins. I will say that. Those two compete. They rebound. But that's what I have to say. I think time will tell for the Warriors. But I think Steve needs to mix it up a little bit. I don't know what he did last night, but throwing all the bench guys out there at once when they're so young is a little tough, and it puts them in a tough position.
All right, I agree. Actually, I was gonna go similarly in that route with my explanation of what I think is actually wrong. We'll go to Omar next. Omar, appreciate the follow. Shooting you a follow back. Welcome to Hoop Spaces. We're talking currently Golden State. What are your thoughts? All right.
Hello.
There you go. How you doing, Omar?
My name is Omar, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm from the Gambia, Smiling Coast of the West Africa.
I have actually been to West Africa. I've been to Ghana, Ivory Coast, and Niger. Appreciate you stopping through.
All right, my friend, we are here, but we are really suffering over here because we have no food to eat here, to be honest, my brother. I don't know how you guys will feel this.
All right, appreciate it. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got another international listener, and we appreciate Omar coming through. We'll go to TJ. TJ, what are your final thoughts here on the Dubs? And I'm going to give my take.
So I agree 100% what Dime Dropper just said. I did see one platoon swap last night. They had it was Jordan Poole, it was Ty Jerome, Anthony Lamb, Kuminga, and Klay Thompson. And I kind of see where they're trying to have one veteran leader try to stabilize that second unit. But when it comes to like the offensive production, they're all over the place. So Kuminga, he wants to drive and finish, but he's kind of wild there. He didn't have those opportunities last year to kind of explore because he had other people kind of facilitating the ball to him. I want to see him be more aggressive, but they're not giving him the opportunities. With the whole Wiseman thing, I just feel like he's not in the right system. They want to use him as a shooter. I don't think he's going to be a shooter. I think he's supposed to be down on the block, and they're not using him efficiently like that. So I don't know what else to say about the Warriors, the baby Dubs. It's just that they need some more veteran leadership, and they don't necessarily have it. It's coming from Green, JaMychal Green, and it's not really there. It's not coming from Iguodala because we don't really see him on the court. He's kind of just like the Udonis Haslem of the Warriors. Like he's just sitting there, not really making a move until it becomes necessary. But yeah, the Warriors need some serious work on that second unit before I can start taking this team as a serious contender for a championship.
Yeah, I think you are kind of worrying a little bit too much. I'm here with Dime Dropper. Funny how I'm defending now the likes of the defending champions. James Wiseman isn't the problem. I believe the problem is they have no secondary point guard. Over the course of the last year, they moved Jordan Poole away from being Steph Curry's primary point guard back up to the actual next starting shooting guard, or at least scoring guard, or some type of guard that isn't a primary backup point guard. And they signed Dante DiVincenzo to fulfill that role. And I think that's the role he's going to do phenomenally well if he can stay healthy. And unfortunately for him and the Warriors, he's not. If, however, the Warriors felt that they needed to make a trade, one, I don't think there's a trade until Christmas, but there's three teams that have what you're looking for. And in no particular order, I replied down below in a tweet to Stephen Capone. And it's Charlotte, San Antonio, and OKC, but specifically San Antonio. James Wiseman's 21 years old, right? Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, and Keldon Johnson are 21 to 24. Jakob Poeltl's almost 30. James Wiseman and Jakob Poeltl's contracts match. So, like, if you think there is a need, there's an answer. There's your answer. And it would probably cost Wiseman and maybe even a future first because San Antonio is being greedy. That is what I think happens if by Christmas the Golden State Warriors are still struggling. DA, you want to hop in here? Go ahead.
Don't do my Spurs like that, Chris. Please, brother.
What?
That man. Come on.
They've made no qualms about it. Like they going for something.
I know we'll have to do that and stuff. But I want to give a shout out to Dime Dropper real quick. He actually, me and Dime Dropper go back. I want to say about I've known Dime Dropper since he was in junior high school, Paul Revere. So yeah. I just wanted to say, congratulations to all your success, everything that you're doing. Keep pushing it, man, and just keep on, trucking along and stuff. I know, it's been crazy with the mainstream media and talking about, us podcasters or us independent media and our opinions and everything. But we just pretty much do the job better. You see what Chris is doing, you know what I'm saying, with Hoop Spaces and everything. Got the best show as far as NBA on this platform and everything. So, just keep pushing, young fella, and see you soon.
Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, Omar, 30 seconds. What do you have on the Golden State Warriors?
Well, my friend, as we need some food here with my siblings here, as we are hungry over here, and we don't have anyone to help us here. That's why. And we really don't have anything that here, and there's no other way here. You can get something to buy food here. So that's why I need them offload. I'm here and asking for helping hand.
I understand, but there's nothing we're able to do, Omar. Like, I'm sorry. What I would probably suggest is maybe take it to Twitter as opposed to individual rooms, my man. There you go. All right. Next up, we got the Lakers losing to the Jazz once again, 139-116. 5-alarm fire brewing in the city of Angels. Instead of being the team that we were told when LeBron and AD are healthy would be able to rise back up to be a contender. We are looking at a 2-8 squad with more questions than answers, and a coach in Darvin Ham who readily admits he has none. All right. We'll go first to TJ so he can start feeling better about the position his Golden State Warriors are in by now talking badly about the Los Angeles Lakers. TJ, good morning.
Yeah, them Lakers, I'm so glad that they're one game worse than we are, because I can always say that the Lakers are not as good. I didn't get the chance to watch the game, so I'm kind of just going to chime in from here or there, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, not a problem. Like I watched it because I like watching the Lakers lose. I'm not going to lie. I've said it before. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the players and everything to do with the fan base. Like I don't mind, admitting my pettiness. The majority of Laker fans, I don't even believe are actually Laker fans or basketball fans. They just don't have anything to do on a random Friday night in Los Angeles, so they don the purple and gold and make it hard for other fans who are actually fans. The Lakers are in a bad spot. 2-8, Dime Dropper. You cover them in these reactionary videos. The biggest issue that I have, and I spoke about it yesterday, is this is now looking like this was designed. that Rob Pelinka had outsmarted the league, figured out how to get a clean cap sheet for next year's offseason, and decided to take a gamble on a whole bunch of players who never really had a chance and were injured while trying to maintain, quote, open flexibility for roster improvements. To me, that screams that there was no plan and that was the plan. And now we're seeing the fallout. Dime, drop of your thoughts.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it so many times that how financially capped the Lakers were. They weren't going to be able to get quality role guys. So, you got these guys like Troy Brown, Juan Toscano, Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker's probably been their best role player so far this season. I mean, he has the occasional ability to get off for 20-plus points, and I think his defense has been a little better than expected. I think Darvin Ham is actually a good coach. Like, I really think that the fact that he's gotten this team to play the defense, I mean, not last night, but the defense that they've played is pretty impressive given their personnel. But I think, as I said, the role players aren't good, but Patrick Beverley especially has really been a disappointment. I mean, I obviously poke my fun at him because he had so much to say about the Clippers after he won his championship last season, jumping on the scores table like he was Dwayne Wade. But he seems like he's declined 5 years since he's come. He has not been able to hit threes. And then the really big elephant in the room to me is, I don't know if LeBron and AD can do this anymore, even if they had a more optimal supporting cast around them. You're relying on a 38-year-old man with 20 years of basketball in his body to once again lead them to the championship like he did in 2020. Anthony Davis has had, as good as he's been defensively this year, has taken steps back like in the second half, he drifts away from the game. In 2020, that was not the case. He was electric that season. And as good as he's been this year, he's not that. And then as much as I love seeing Westbrook play the way he has, like, it's really awesome. I really love it. It's just not enough. Like, the West is just – LeBron's not getting to the rim the same way anymore, Chris. Like, that's a big deal because he gets the defense to collapse, and then the shooters are very inconsistent. It's just not a great roster. I said 9 seed before this season. I'm going to stick with my pick for now. But if AD goes down, that thing is going to crumble and fast. I don't know what they got to do. I don't know if they should blow it all up, but they got to consider something. I don't think it's just going to get better if Russ leaves and you put shooters around LeBron and AD. That could be good enough for like a first-round exit. I just don't believe in them anymore. They're old. AD's not old, but he's banged up. I don't know. What you think?
I agree. We were talking about the idea of the Lakers trying to trade him. You heard DA say earlier if they're trying to do something to be competitive. I'm with you. I don't think I am on the whole fire sale LeBron thing where he's having issues. I think the biggest problem is when you started him and Westbrook in this season with the motion offense that Darvin Ham wanted, it kind of forced LeBron to not drive. And so you're just seeing some like hesitancy, and you're starting to see it kind of fade away in the last couple of games he's played. But now I think what we're seeing is the nagging injury that unfortunately looks like it'll last the majority of the season. And that is what's going to expose Anthony Davis. And I think the biggest problem we have is we still hold on to the idea of what everybody hyped up Anthony Davis to be coming out of Kentucky. And we're not really giving credit for the great career he's had and currently having because we can't disassociate with what we thought he was going to be. Because even though he's had essentially a Hall of Fame career, we are left thinking he was supposed to do more. And then as we see the likes of Giannis or we see the likes of Luka now kind of just supersede him in the consciousness of the NBA, people are saying, oh my God, he's a bust when he's not. And the issue is we're not accepting that because in our minds, he was the progeny. He was the guy who was going to come and change the league. And all he really ended up being was LeBron James' second best sidekick. That's what I think, Dime. Your thoughts?
Hold on, I'm brushing my teeth.
TJ, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, when it comes to the Lakers team, I mean, it's kind of similar to what the Warriors have. They don't have a really good bench per se, but I'm also in the belief that these veteran players maybe are just holding a little bit extra in the tank for this in case we, get a winning streak going. I'd see that the players like, LeBron are taking a step back and not necessarily producing big games every night. But I still like some of the pieces that the Lakers have. Like Reeves is pretty decent. Walker is definitely pretty decent. I just feel like at the point guard position, they got to figure out who they're gonna really, go with. Is it gonna be Pat Bev or is it gonna be Westbrook? And if Westbrook decides to come off the bench, gotta deal with that. But I don't know. I think it's just basically these veteran players, these superstars are not giving it their all 10, 12 games into the season. So I'm going to reserve comment on a lot of these players until we get to at least to the quarter pole or the halfway point of the season.
Well, we are at the actually like the 12.5% pole. So we're almost there at the quarter pole. That's the problem. That's why we say give it 20 games, right? That's the quarter pole, 20 games. That's 24% of the season played. And the issue is when you look at the standings, there are only so many more games they can lose. Like they're 4 games out of the 6th seed already. Like if they get 8 games out the 6th seed, that's gonna be a hard makeup. Like look at the schedule. Tell me where they're gonna run off 10 in a row. Because like that's what's gonna have to happen if they keep playing like this.
Well, Chris, I have a question for you. So you talk about AD's career. I think he's had a hell of a career, and I think
I
that he
do.
actually in 2018 and 20, I think he actually was the Anthony Davis everybody thought we were getting out of Kentucky. Like, but the thing is, when the Lakers traded for him, I don't think that they thought he was going to be out of his prime in 3 years. I legitimately think Anthony Davis is declining. Like, he does not look as good as 2020 and 2018. Like, somebody posted a clip of him in 2017 on the timeline, and I was like, oh my God, look at the way this guy's moving. And he's still an all-star, like absolute all-star player. But they thought he was going to be able to take the reins from LeBron, and he hasn't done that. And I think everyone's concluded now that he's not the number one guy in a championship team. So to me, if you start building a championship team, you got to look at the top. And is LeBron still that guy to you? Like, can he better than Anthony Davis leading a team to the championship? Because he gets gassed at the end of games now, LeBron. I can't remember the last time he closed out a game for them well in a close one.
I can't remember. It was last week. They ended up losing, but in the fourth quarter, he had a drive from the top of the key, uncontested, ran in for the two-handed slam. That was
winning the game, Chris. You gotta win.
Well, I'm saying, that put him up. They lost on defense. But he was there. I get what you're saying, and I agree. I think sometimes we overshoot simple stuff. Like, he's 29 years old, but he's got 11 years now in the league. This is his 11th season. I mean, he's got over 400 games. And he's a 6'10", 6'11", 250-pound big who grew late in high school. And, like, it's not that he's done. I think he's done with the uber athleticism. And I think what we're seeing is he's starting to learn what that 5 year of a nuanced game is going to look like. And then, like, we see it as declining, but what we're really just seeing is him now being less reliant on athleticism, where he's making some of these fantastic out-of-this-world blocks, where now he's getting his blocks more based on positioning and help defense. And we see that lack of athleticism, and then we see the last 2 years him not playing more than 40 games. And, like, subconsciously, a lot of people have just checked out on Anthony Davis, especially over the summer when it came out, like, he wasn't even shooting. And like, when you look at what he's still doing, he's giving you 22 points, 23 points. He's giving you 10 rebounds, 3 of which are offensive. He's giving you 2 blocks, a steal and a half, and he's giving you 2 assists. And I think right now what we need to see is more Anthony Davis if he was, let's say, Patrick Ewing. When Patrick started to realize that he was losing some of the overbearing athleticism that he dominated folks with, and you saw him start playing more in the post, but being a better pocket passer and raising his assist level. I think if they play inside out with, like, Davis on the high post, you could then get LeBron moving around and make it easier for him. But then that would force LeBron to have to be a player he's never been. And that means instead of being at the top of the key, he's got to go baseline to baseline. And that's where I think LA can get this to start working. And the problem with that, Dime, is that is antithetical to what Darvin Ham wants to do, bringing in this motion offense that he's picked up while being an assistant coach in places like Atlanta and Milwaukee. As he's probably doing something else to get ready for his day during the work. TJ,
No,
we'll go to you.
here.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
No, I was just listening. I didn't really have much to add. I think that's a good idea, get LeBron moving off the ball a little bit. But, it goes back to he's a little older. Like, I don't know how much he's willing to do that, especially if he's stepped up on defense a little bit this year. I think he has. He's had his bad games, but he's also had games where he's been better on defense. It's just, let me ask you this main question, then we can move on from Lakers. But let's say this season goes according to plan. They go play in game, lose. Where do you go next season? Like, what's the direction you want to take this team? Do you want to keep AD and build around him? I think he can be the second best player on a championship team, but I think you're going to need someone better than him at this point. I don't know if he can lead a team. And do you stay with LeBron for another year?
Well, I think they're going to be forced to, unfortunately. Like, if you look at what next year's free agency class is, like right now, the best player might be
Luke Cornett, your favorite?
Vucevic, right? Like that might be the best player that's available unrestricted. Everybody else of note will be restricted and likely to stay. Your next best player is probably Draymond Green if he doesn't actually, sign into his player option. Maybe Christian Wood if he doesn't get an extension in Dallas. Miles Turner.
This is looking very tough, Chris. Very tough.
So like that's why I was mad, and I gave this rant yesterday. Like that was Pelinka's plan. That's what he sold Jeannie Buss on to get this 4-year extension. Was I figured out a way to give us a clean cap sheet where we literally just go in with LeBron and Anthony Davis and two players making less than $2.5 million. To my point is like, then who the hell are you signing? You gonna give Max Strus $20 million a year? I mean, I'm here for it, but are you? So, like, they're stuck. They can't, like, the only way they can move on is if they totally blow it up.
Yeah,
I also agree. I think LeBron. I'm gonna kind of follow Jada Wakanda lead. I think LeBron will probably be the one out of there before Anthony Davis, just because he's a lot younger. The upside is still there, even though these injuries are piling up. But yeah, I think you're gonna have to figure out if the Lakers don't make the playoffs for the second season in a row. You got to figure out how to get some assets because you're not gonna get anywhere in the next 2 to 3 years if you don't do anything.
All right, so I just gave you every restricted free agent of note, and I gave you 2 restricted. Where do you see the Lakers?
Worse than where they're at right now. But there's a good draft class, so maybe you get some draft picks.
Well, except for the fact that their picks go to New Orleans.
Yeah, they're screwed.
Both of them, or just the first one?
The whichever one is closer to Victor.
First round.
The swap pick. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so like right now, as it stands, they'd be sitting at like 11 to 14.
I can't believe I'm saying this, Chris, but I think they may have to put LeBron James in the first trade he's ever been in. Get it? Well, there's going to be a team. I'm sure I've never said this before, but I think that there's going to be a team next year that can use LeBron for 1 year and just get there's so much that comes with having LeBron on the team. KD described it as toxic a couple of years back. There's so many things that come with it. Just get it out of here and just get a bunch of little pieces. And then at least you can see what you can get around AD. And then we can, can test it out for a year. Maybe the vibes are better. The vibes are just not good right now. There's a lot of drama. There's a whole LeBron fans versus Laker fans. It's a mess.
You know what we need, Dime? We need a LeBron James for Kyrie Irving trade and send LeBron to KD in Brooklyn.
Okay, I don't know about all that. What about John? Does John have any choice words?
All right, Jonathan Hattie Hart Harris, ladies and gentlemen. Sundays are for basketball over on YouTube. Philadelphia fan, although I question it sometimes, with his unyielding love and admiration for one Stephen Curry. Jonathan, your thoughts on the Lakers or the Warriors?
Chris, what's up, my dude? Dime, I see you in here spitting game. Let me tell you guys something. The boogeyman is still here. The boogeyman is still the best player in the league. The boogeyman will rise, and he will probably repeat again. Actually, no, he will repeat again. That man is Wardell Stephen Curry, the best player in the league by far. Don't disrespect him, man. He's out here leading the dubs in every stat category when these guys are inconsistent. Jordan Poole, where was you at last night? I need to know. I need to know, Jordan Poole, but it's okay. That's my guy. Jordan Poole's my guy. We know Klay Thompson's going to wait till the playoffs to pop off. The Warriors are going to be fine. 47 points last night from my boy. And let me tell you guys something real quick. Let me tell you guys something. I don't want to get Chris started because we know how his food takes are. But the Lakers are French toast, my people. The Lakers are French toast. It's over.
How
Anthony
dare
Davis.
you? How dare you?
Y'all know I don't want to get Chris started on his food take because he be saying anything.
You come up here and you are a Sixers fan, and you
Can I get to my Sixers?
See, you over here spreading love, and then you have the audacity to badmouth French toast.
No,
Like, look
actually,
here.
I like French toast, but not in this sense.
We all know what the Lakers are. The Lakers are loose, floppy bread, ladies and gentlemen. That is right. They are playing like every pregame meal is nothing but a stack of flapjacks. Nothing but flour
they're
and
lazy
water.
French toast, Chris. There's no powder. You know, they barely put any cinnamon on there. It's bad. Let me tell you guys something, man. LeBron's done for. He's out of here. Get him out of L.A. AD, ship him out. It's looking like right now the best player on the team is Russell Westbrook. Who would have thought, people? Who would have thought? Dime, I hope your Clippers destroy them and bury them tomorrow. I hope that happens. I need that to happen. And also the last thing. Everybody, they was in here going crazy. The Sixers started out 0-3, but we're on the rise, people. Joel Embiid, what a great game last night. Maxey, he's playing with speed. I like him actually getting assists. Tobias, keep rebounding, brother, and getting a couple buckets for us. I feel it. PJ Tucker, when he got his shot blocked, bro, and Embiid, did you see that pass Embiid gave to him under the basket? And this man looked around like he was looking at Dora the Explorer's map and got his shot smacked. PJ Tucker put the ball off the backboard. Man, stop playing in my face. But anyway, yeah, the Sixers going to be fine. The Lakers are done. Blow it all the way up. The only player you can even keep on the team right now is Russell Westbrook. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad, people? How far the Lakers have come, huh? The rise and fall is just disgusting. But anyway, Steph Curry's the best player in the league. Dime, I know you're about to say, no, it's not, John. No, it's not. But I don't want to hear it, man.
I don't push back too much on the Steph Curry thing.
He almost has your voice down.
I don't want to hear it.
That was scary.
That wasn't me trying to do his voice. That wasn't me trying to do his voice.
No, he was doing you almost really well.
Really?
Yeah. Go play the playback. He was hitting you. He was like, I was like, oh dog, that's so dying. Like the pitch ain't there. The inflection's on. That was a good job. Everybody give Johnson a follow and a round of applause. I gotta hit this,
guys. I love y'all. And Chris, come on, Chris. You know I love the Sixers. I'm about to go to the game on Sunday, man. I'm gonna send you a video. I believe I'm getting boxes. I'm gonna sit unless the prices go crazy. I might get the box seat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the show. We recap every single game. Like, how hard is that? ESPN don't do it. Just throwing that out there. If you need to recap the game in a visual sense, meaning you want to read, check out the newsletter. It's free. Tell me I suck, because then I'll do better. But the problem is you won't, because I don't. So you should sign up for it for that reason too. Shout out to Dime Dropper. Catch him on Locked On Clippers every day. Check him out on the Dime Dropper Pod. Jonathan Hattie Hart Harris. Sundays are for basketball. We will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Make sure you go vote. Peace out.